This message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Student loan payments restarting was bad news for a lot of borrowers, but it might have been even worse news for graduates of historically black colleges and universities. Bloomberg congressional reporter Gerald Dillard has been following the story and says an outsized amount of HBCU graduates are saddled with a lot of debt.
On average, Black Americans in general owe $25,000 more in student loan debt than their white counterparts. But when you look at specifically the students that attend HBCUs, 85% of HBCU graduates in 2020 used federal student loans compared to 59% of non-HBCU graduates.
Dillard told me that because HBCUs are underfunded, they aren't able to offer students scholarships and grants at the same level as non-HBCUs, leading to more students having no choice but to take out loans. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner. On the Black Business Beat.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect that of the staff and management of Good Karma Brands, but are the sole responsibility of the host and guests of this particular show.
America may have many, many days, but they will be full of trouble. There will be no rest. There will be no tranquility in this country until the nation comes to terms with our problems.
Bringing you social and political commentary from his mouth to your ears, breaking down the issues which matter to you.
You are not put here to be a white man's footstool. You are put here to represent the very best in God's word.
Legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Reverend, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, though, man. But I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Well, hi there. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, November 16th, 2023. I got an interesting takeaway. I was doing some reading this morning and I saw some stuff and I then read said stuff. Then I saw some more stuff and I read that stuff. And then when I try to compare the stuffs that I read, it didn't make any sense. Americans don't make any sense. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I suppose I'm included in that. There's an uptick in people's perception of crime. It's a top-rated issue. More Americans right now say that crime is a problem. even in our local areas, right? Even though that number is relatively low, when you ask people about their, like overall, their perception of crime is, oh, it's going up. It's the number one issue on our minds right now. But then when you ask them about like their specific neighborhood, it's lower, but they still perceive it as being higher than it was, say, a couple of years ago. Right? We can't escape the issue of crime. It's all over the place. We talk about it here with great frequency. What are we going to do about it? Then that goes into the conversation, oh, do we have more police? Maybe it's the leadership. Then at some point, somebody's going to blame the family. And this solution always comes up, doesn't it? We should send the parents to jail because that'll help out, I suppose. But we go through a myriad of different topics and discussions. Bottom line is it is on Americans' minds right now. And we are no stranger to crime here in the city of Milwaukee. Not sure when it was, probably a year or two ago. I did a show on car theft. And the number of you that called in that had your car stolen, some of you had your car stolen repeatedly. Rhea will no longer buy a Kia because her Kias get stolen. Now you have a Nissan. No one has stolen the Nissan, correct? How did you get to work today? You took the Nissan?
Took the Nissan.
All right, then. So the Nissan just is a car nobody wants but you, apparently. Is it an Altima? Is it a Sentra? Is it a Maxima?
You'll never know.
I could go look and see.
No.
It's an Altima. All right. Well, congratulations on having a car that didn't get stolen. Like, I don't want you to feel picked on, but you are in glorious company of Milwaukeeans who have had their cars stolen. So if I was to ask Rhea, like the Gallup Corporation did, Gallup is a polling firm, very trusted. They've been polling for a very long time. I trust Gallup's poll numbers more than, say, NBC or the Washington Post or Quinnipiac. I trust Gallup because they know how to poll Americans. Okay. So if I was to ask someone like Rhea, who has been a victim of crime, the same crime more than once, she would probably say at some point, yeah, crime is an issue. It's a problem here in the United States of America. Where we tend to break down is how do we fix it? Because when we have the conversation about crime, I'm going to give you some details about what you confused Americans say about crime. We always get into a racial issue. Well, it's the black people committing the crime. I'm sure if you made that statement, depending upon where you were and the partisanship of the listeners when you made that statement, a whole bunch of people would agree, and black people might agree too. Yep, we commit all the crime. And then you have to say, well, it's because of racism, and black people don't have the same opportunities. They're denied resources. Investment in education in black neighborhoods is lower. Crime. And then you have to talk about poverty. Well, there's poverty in America, so poverty equals crime. But we never can seem to fix it, or at least to get Americans to think differently about it. I think that we in the media are at least partially to blame. I'm going to explain that in a second. Nearly 2/3 of Americans believe crime is an extremely or very serious problem in the U.S., according to a new Gallup poll released today. The 63% rate is the highest ever collected by Gallup, with the previous high of 60% found in the years 2000, 2010, and 2016. A small proportion of respondents considered crime extremely serious in their local communities, just 17%, but over half of them believe the crime has still gone up in their area. Nationally, about three-quarters of Americans believe that crime has gone up, underlining the tough-on-crime political narrative of conservative politicians. And here's where it gets kind of interesting. Republicans were significantly more likely to believe that crime is going up nationally, with 92% of that belief compared to 58% of Democrats. Republican respondents also believed national crime was a more serious issue, 78% to 51% of Democrats. So I'm not trying to generalize here, but if you get your news from certain places, let's say the Fox variety. Now, I don't watch the Fox variety of news, not for the reason you don't think. I don't watch it because I don't want to be exposed to the advertisements that are on the Fox network. Like, if I was to watch Fox, I would want to see the level of detail and the content and the delivery of the lies that they're spewing to their millions of viewers, that's what I would watch it for. Not to believe it, not to get credible information, not to get data, but just to see how they deliver lies. But I don't want to be exposed to the ads. That's what you have to be very, very careful of. Repeated exposure to those ads has a psychological effect on you. And what happens is you'll see an ad, and maybe you see the ad a whole bunch of different places, but a certain ad for a certain company or a business or a restaurant might be running in heavy rotation on Fox. And the next time you're shopping for something, could be one of these categories that this ad, this business is representing, you may buy that product. So then subconsciously you are supporting Fox News. That's what you got to be careful of. And that's why I don't watch it. But let's say they had a consistent narrative on Fox News for those of you that watch it that talk about crime is horrible, crime is rising, America is dangerous, a Democrat runs cities, and they'll show some violent scene somewhere. They'll show something on fire. They'll do a couple of segments on crime in America. It's awful. You should be afraid. Everybody go get a gun. Get your concealed carry permit. Then they get an expert. People that have guns are safer. Get a concealed carry, or you can open carry. And they get another expert that comes on and says people that have guns, if you have a gun, you're going to be very safe because crime is out of control in America. You can't leave your house. You can't go to Chicago. They'll just tell you Chicago is off limits. Don't ever go to Chicago because the moment you touch down at O'Hare, your plane is going to blow up because crime Chicago. And they'll repeat that over and over and over again. And people that have never been to Chicago, people who have never been a victim of crime, people whose cars have not been stolen, not once, not twice, not at all, will absorb that information they're receiving from this particular news source, and then they will report that they believe the crime is going up nationally. I can also do a similar situation about race and racism. If I talk about all of the racial incidents that happen in a given day or a given week nationwide, let's say a cop beats somebody up in Toledo, Ohio, and then a cop shoots an unarmed black man in Seattle, Washington, and then someone is falsely accused and arrested in Los Angeles, and they're all African American, and then we see a cop use excessive force on a black child in the state of Rhode Island, and I report on that stuff. A lot of you that listen to this program would say, wow, racism is as bad as it's ever been. It's worse than ever. I'm going to self-report that racism is the worst thing happening in this country. When you continue to repeat something, especially things that are negative, people will ultimately believe that that problem is big, getting bigger and growing. Let's talk to Brian. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I just want to make a comment about the cars. So my car got stolen recently right in front of my house. And it wasn't a Hyundai or Kia. It was a Toyota. And how they're stealing these cars is they're going through the OBD port. So I just wanted to mention that, you know, everyone I talk to, police officers, or even I just mentioned that my car was stolen, they're pointing fingers and saying, go to the north side. That's where it's happening. But you know what? It's not true, man. They're not stealing these Toyotas. They're stealing the Kias and the Hyundais. Those are high school kids that they found an easy way to steal these cars. The way my car got stolen was, you know, using OBD and hacking the computer system. So where my car found was on the south side, down in Mexican town. I'm not saying it's Mexican people, but down in that general area. And it's just funny. You know, I'm not black myself, but I always listen to your show, because I think you make a lot of good points for Americans. I mean, black Americans, whatever. I mean, it's a big issue, and you cover a lot of those things. So I just wanted to point it out that, you know, everybody's saying that all these stolen cars are coming from these kids, these Kia boys or whatever on the north side. And it's not true, man. I mean, people are using tow trucks. And like I said, but even my Toyota, they went into the OBD port. So.
Well, thank you for that, Brian. I didn't know that they could steal vehicles through the OBD port. If that's the case, then all of our cars are vulnerable.
Oh, man. I mean, they're going right into the headlight bulb, going right there, and they can tap into your system.
Well, thanks, Brian. Appreciate the information. I guess I'll put a lock on my damn headlight bulbs. Thank you for your call. I didn't know that. That's a very sophisticated way of stealing a vehicle. But you know what? When you think about it, our cars are mostly computer controlled. All the things, the ignition and the spark timing And what else? The traction control, it's all computer control, and all the things. A lot of computers and microchips and wires and stuff in your car. You can hack a car. I didn't even think about that. So the OBD is the onboard diagnostics port. If you look under your steering wheel, you're going to see a connector. It is a female connector, right? So you ever get your car like a diagnostics test for your car? Like you get a check engine light. Most of you have a check engine light on right now. I would suggest you get that looked at. But there's a little handheld device, and you can buy them on the Amazons. They're not very expensive. In fact, I would suggest you buy an OBD diagnostics tester, like $30 or $40, right? And if you have like a check engine light, or you get an ABS light, or any one of these warning lights that I know you all ignore, you go to the shop. Most of you go to the dealership, not recommended, but fine. And they have this little handheld device, and they plug it into this little port. It's right under your steering wheel, right underneath, right where your knees are, underneath the wheel. In most cars, that's where it's at. And they plug in this device, and it tells the device will have a readout of all of the things that are triggering those warning lights, those error codes, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't even think that you could hack into a vehicle and potentially start it, because that's the nerve center of your car's computer is through that onboard diagnostics port. I actually have a code reader in my vehicle, so whenever I get a check engine light, I plug in my little reader. It tells me what's wrong, and sometimes it just goes off. The light will be tripped for no reason whatsoever, and you can actually clear those codes. But did not know that that's another way they could steal the cars. All right, guys. Well, be careful, I suppose. And apparently they can go in through your damn headlights. Maybe crime is going up. All right, I'm going to take a break right now, come back to this story. Then I got a comparison, which once I explain this to you, I don't think it's going to make any sense to you all. So we're starting with the premise that most of you believe the crime is bad, it's going up, and it's a main issue facing Americans right now. So keep that in mind. Take a break, come back, and give you a bit of a different perspective. And I'm going to make it a little bit more political. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 1017 The Truth's Dr. Ken Harris, and the time is now, Milwaukee. Perspective is essential. What I found is the news behind the news is more important. I want you to leave my show with a sense of knowing what was missing that adds depth to the conversation. Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. on the new 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, or 1017thetruth.com.
The 1017 The Truth Street Team, sponsored by UW Credit Union, is coming to an event near you. It is homecoming week for the Milwaukee Panthers, and to celebrate, our 1017 The Truth Street Team will be handing out swag at the Panthers home game this Friday night from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Come enjoy a great men's basketball game between the Milwaukee Panthers and Luther College while hanging out with the Truth Street Team. Get your tickets now by visiting Ticketmaster.com. The 1017 The Truth Street Team is sponsored by UW Credit Union. They are here for every you.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Melanie Ricks with her truth.
What's up, everybody? It's Melanie Ricks from Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. A thought that I have on my mind today: you have to put out the energy that you want to receive in return. I've noticed recently that I tend to have expectations for others that I don't also have for myself. For example, if I text my friend, I expect them to respond instantly. But if somebody texts me, I'll take my time and respond whenever I'm good and ready to. So why is it that I feel as if others have to get back to me right away if I'm not willing to get back to them? That's just one minor example. But when it comes to work, let's say you're feeling dissatisfied with your job performance, or maybe with the atmosphere, what's going on with work. Perhaps that you're hoping for a promotion of some sort and things just aren't going the way that you want. Okay, so what are you doing to fix that? What are you doing to work your way towards a better work situation? What is the energy that you are putting toward your job, toward your coworkers? Even when it comes to family dynamics and other relationships, or perhaps encounters with strangers. What is the energy that you are giving to the people around you? And what is the energy that you expect in return? I sincerely believe in the law of attraction, and I very much do feel that what you put out is what you will receive. So if you are someone who feels as if you are not getting the best out of things in life, perhaps it's because you are not putting your best foot forward and you are not putting the best energy that you can toward those things. The law of attraction is real, y'all. I'm telling you.
Listen to Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks, weekdays from noon to 1 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So you would think that Americans' perception of crime would have some kind of influence on their voting behavior. Who they vote for or whether they vote or not, maybe even the party that they vote for. There's a large number of people who are politically unaffiliated or not. They're not politically loyal. They don't like the Democrats, they don't like the Republicans, and there are cases to not like both political parties as institutions because they have mounting failures. But now, my opinion, of course, I think the Republicans are winning the failure game because even with a majority in the House, the most substantial thing that they did with their majority in the House of Representatives, so it certainly wasn't putting policies together that can help people's economic situation. If we believe that poverty, wherever it exists, crime is also associated with it. There has been no tax cuts for low-income people or for poor people. There's been none of that. There's been no additional stimulus, nothing to address some of the major issues in this nation that we believe could contribute to crime. The most significant thing that the Republicans did is elect a speaker, didn't like him, took about 3 weeks to elect another speaker, don't like him either. Like, that is what they have done. And when the Republicans in the House of Representatives, to which there are 221, I believe, out of the 235, something like that, they are all up for re-election in 2024. They have nothing to tell their constituents about their accomplishments. Literally nothing. At the same time, their constituents, more than Democrats, believe that crime is the largest issue in the country. But I have a feeling, a sneaking suspicion, that those Republican voters who are going to get nothing from their Republican members of Congress as far as reasons why they should be elected or reelected, they're simply going to blame the Democrats. More than 3/4 of Americans at 77% believe there is more crime in the U.S. than last year. A majority at 55% say the same about crime in their local area. Both figures are similar to what Gallup measured last year and rank among the most pessimistic readings in the respective trends. Gallup has asked Americans about the direction of local crime since 1972 and national crime since 1989. The high point in perceptions of increased local crime is the 56% of registered last year, while the record high for national crime is 89% in 1992. Well, that must have been crack time, 92. That makes sense. Ratings of increased local crime were about as high as the current ratings in 1981, where we were in a deep, deep economic recession, and in 1992 at 54%. So I think that we can agree. Just me mentioning stolen cars triggered Brian to call. Rhea's ears perked up because she doesn't want to deal with that again. Right? So it impacts everybody. Or maybe it didn't impact you directly, but you absolutely know somebody who's been a victim of crime. We had Lisa called in. Her niece was shot in an attempted carjacking. Security Mike called in, was it last week or the week before? One of his beloved coworkers was killed in a reckless driving accident. Police Chief Jeff Norman went to a press conference about reckless driving. The police chief leaves the press conference about reckless driving. The police chief gets hit by a reckless driver. So even if it hasn't impacted us directly, We read about it, we see it, we know somebody who has been affected by it. So I would like to think that Americans are at least consistent. Crime is high. It's all over the place. It's happened to some of you. It's happened to people that you know. It should influence our voting behavior. Well, not really. So let me make this political for a second. This is the part that confuses me to no end. I've been trying to understand this. Maybe you guys can provide some clarity. So keep this in mind now. Crime is a driving issue in America right now. Because it is a driving issue, it's on everybody's minds. We're concerned about it. We believe it's going up in our local areas. We believe it is going up nationally. You've got news organizations that are bombarding us with every single negative story that exists. Even if you read local news here, they're going to lead with who got shot, who was killed, reckless driving accidents. And of course, if you consume news, and a lot of you do, you're getting bombarded by this stuff all of the time. So it makes sense that we believe it is a major issue. So this should be another war on crime, another war on the criminal. It should be, let's build more prisons. It should be, let's elect more tough on crime judges, legislators, and executives, and throw out the ones that are currently in office that were just sitting apparently idle, sitting on their hands while these crime rates have continued to go up. That is pretty standard, par for the course American political sentiment when we believe the crime of all types is going up, right? Let me throw this at you. Former President Donald Trump is still beating President Joe Biden in a 2024 matchup, according to a new poll. So the bad news for Joe Biden is continuing. We are now less than a year from the presidential election. Things haven't even really started to heat up yet. So the Republicans are still trying to figure out who their nominee is going to be. They're still having debates that nobody is watching because Donald Trump is going to be their nominee. And with that being said, Donald Trump, knowing all that you know about him, is still beating Joe Biden. So why I get concerned is that Joe Biden is not showing any positive movement or positive momentum. It's one poll after the next, 1 week after the next, 1 month after the next. There's battleground states in which Joe Biden is slightly ahead. There's battleground states, the majority of them, in which Donald Trump is leading. And that's not showing any signs of turning around. So when you see successive polls that show this consistency of Trump leading, that is something to be concerned about, because in the event that Trump gets reelected, and I believe if the election were held today, Trump walks right in. That's what I believe, because gas prices or something. The new Yahoo News YouGov poll found that Trump has a slight edge over the sitting president in a hypothetical matchup, leading Biden 44 to 42%. However, the poll also found that 9% of respondents were unsure of who they would vote for, and another 5% said they were not going to vote at all. When asked whether Biden's age or Trump's criminal charges, this is the part. Biden is an old man. Trump is old too. But for some reason, Biden is perceived as being way older. Do you guys know that they would have been in high school at the exact same time? When Biden was a senior, Trump would have been a freshman. So they're equally old. And that would have been it. When were they in high school? The 50s? The 60s. But the comparison that they make here, now keep this in mind. Crime is rising. People are concerned about crime. You would think we would have a tough on crime stance. We want more cops on our streets. We want tougher laws. We want stricter judges that aren't just giving people slaps on the wrist. We really want to do something about the crime. I believe we're still building a youth prison right off of 76 and Good Hope. Haven't heard much about the youth prison, but of course we got to lock up the kids, because when you lock up the kids, your Kias and your Hyundais are kind of safe a little bit if you just incarcerate the children. Either incarcerate them in the new youth prison, which doesn't hold enough kids. It only holds 32 kids. It should probably hold 320,000 kids. That'd be a little bit better. But you got to lock up the kids because the kids are bad. And when you incarcerate all of them, then crime goes down, apparently, because we're spending now $80 million on a 32-bed facility because kids. About 42% said Trump's criminal charges were the bigger problem, while 41% said Biden's age was the bigger problem. That may not sound like much, but I need you to understand this. In an era where people are fed up with crime and believe that crime is rising everywhere, in their own backyards and nationally, the criminal Donald Trump. And we can't deny the criminal charges against Donald Trump, especially in the state of New York, where now they're trying to figure out how much of Donald Trump's empire is going to be liquidated because it was based on fraud. So even if he's innocent of everything else, which he isn't, if he's not convicted of all the other things, the election fraud, the classified documents, all the other stuff, there is some criminality that lies with Donald Trump. He is responsible for criminal behavior that created a false on-paper series of inflated prices of his real estate. That's illegal. It's against the law in the state of New York and probably every other state in the country. So at the same time that Americans are upset about crime and it's rising, the criminal is doing as well, if not better, than the old guy. Americans are rating Biden's age as a factor like Donald Trump's criminality. That's the comparison. So being old to Americans is similar to being a criminal. That's just the most unusual thing I've ever seen. When asked whether Biden's age or Trump's criminal charges were a bigger problem, wouldn't you think that criminal charges against a former president that's running for president would be a bigger deal than somebody's age? Because people have self-reported that crime is the issue. Crime is getting worse. It's worse nationally. It's worse locally. Everybody's getting their Hyundais and their Kias stolen. But Joe Biden's age is as bad of a problem as the 45th president being criminally charged and potentially convicted. I'm going to pause there and come back. It just makes no sense. It's like we don't like crime, but there's a large share of people that absolutely unequivocally will vote for a criminal. Y'all don't make no sense to me. If you don't like crime, why would you elect a criminal that's going to do more crime? Donald Trump is telling the nation, if you haven't researched or read about Project 2025, it's the worst horror movie you've ever read about, the worst horror novel, except it's true. It's the plan for how Donald Trump is going to use federal agencies and federal departments to exact revenge on literally everybody. He's saying it out loud. He's not saying it quietly. He's saying it out loud and very publicly. Who he's going to go after, how he's going to go after them. He's being criminally charged in 4 jurisdictions, already some semblance of guilt in New York. Americans are fed up with crime but want to elect a criminal. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be back shortly.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce would like to invite you to attend their upcoming Black and Diverse Business Showcase on Friday, December 8th at the Bear Center in downtown Milwaukee. This informative showcase will be an excellent opportunity for business-to-business networking and business-to-consumer connecting. Truth Nation, you should be there. Sign up to attend this incredible Black and Diverse Business Showcase on Friday, December 8th at the Bear Center in downtown Milwaukee today by visiting twbcc.com. You should be there.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Wisconsin.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Snine. No Giannis, no problem for the Bucks in Toronto as Damian Lillard dropped 37 and Malik Beasley sank 8 3-pointers as he scores 30 and Milwaukee goes on for the 128-112 win on Wednesday night.
Lillard, long three, straight on, and he buries it from about 8 steps behind the arc. Is it safe to say Dame is back?
The Bucks with the win, improving to 7-4 on their season. They are back in action Friday night in Charlotte. The Milwaukee Brewers have officially announced the hiring of Pat Murphy to become the 20th manager in franchise history. Also official for Milwaukee, former Brewers All-Star Ricky Weeks will be Murphy's right-hand man as associate manager. And lastly, the NFL Week 11 slate will kick off tonight. The Bengals traveling out to Baltimore for an AFC North clash. Kickoff tonight is set for 7:15. The Sports Update is brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. You can call the number, just like John, who's on line 1. You can text the number, just like Kiana and Nay. And 414-403 has an interesting text message that they just sent. I'll read those in a second. You can join us on the YouTube, 1017 The Truth on YouTube. They got cameras in my studio now. I'll be honest with y'all. When they told me they was going to get cameras in the studio, didn't like it. Don't like it. I'm not one of those people that goes live when a broadcast. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. All the years I've done radio, it wasn't never really cameras in the studio because radio people dress weird. We do. We wear weird stuff because nobody can see us. You hear us, but you can't see us. But then they told us, well, there's going to be cameras. You're going to have to get used to the cameras. Now the cameras are fun because on the YouTube, which you can go and view at 1017 The Truth on the YouTube, there's a chat stream on the YouTube. These have to be the most interesting characters, even more interesting than the people that call them. Man, we got a cast of characters. If we made a movie about this show and the callers, it would win an Academy Award. Actually, no, it wouldn't because I don't win awards, so that wouldn't happen ever. But the YouTube chatters are something else. There's a woman in the YouTube named Barbara Smith who hates my guts. But she listens every day, which I appreciate. She's very angry with me. All right, let's talk to John. You're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
Morning. You know, I was listening to you talk about Biden, and one of the problems is children grow up today, and I mean generations going back 30, 40 years, never knowing their grandparents. What Biden, if you notice it, when people start talking about his age, he starts smiling. And I know what he's smiling at. We're aware of the accumulated wisdom and knowledge that younger people have a very difficult time completely understanding. You can't live this long and not have absorbed many, many things from going way back, our perspective. is much, much deeper than anybody in their 40s. My boss at work, over half the state, he listens to me, but he's very reluctant to listen to me when it comes to some things that should be common knowledge that just don't make sense to do.
John, did you say your boss at work?
Right.
John, why are you still working?
That's what my father told me to do. My father told me when he retired from Alice Chalmers, he said, son, you can retire, but you always want to find something to do. He said, sitting around will kill you quicker than anything else. Not only do I work, I walk 1.25 miles to work.
Hang on, wait a second now, John. Wait. Can you please remind people your age because you don't mind sharing? How old are you?
87.
And you walk to work and you go to work every day?
I have a lot of physical issues that make it very difficult to work every day, every week.
But you still have a job, though.
Yeah.
Can I ask what you do?
Well, and I get a lot of respect for it.
What do you do, John, if you don't mind us asking? Because Rhea wants to know.
I work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I clean cars for them.
Oh.
I do the same thing that 18-year-olds, 23-year-olds do. My specialty is, in a way, I give the store very good marks for customer service because I hold the door for ladies. That shouldn't be something special you do. That's what you do. They don't know that. This is where all these things, and I don't know how the Biden people are going to figure out how to explain how important this is, how important what this man has done and is capable of doing, but they're going to have to work awfully hard at it. I mean, to think, after all he's done, and I'd love to see a racial breakdown. Who wants to see, do black people want to see Trump over Biden? I doubt it. What about Asian people? I'd like to see it broken down like that. But I think in the end, Biden will sweep the table. But somehow or another, in American politics, we always have to play these games. We always have to talk stuff. I have a grave problem sometimes with Dr. Harris in the afternoon. I don't agree with him on a lot of things. I got to call him today because he said something last night didn't make any sense. But I'm sure glad you all are there for me to bounce this stuff off of. And I got you on YouTube, too.
Oh, thank you, John. I'll wave to you. The next wave I do will be for you. We always appreciate your call, and I think we learn more from you than you ever could learn from us.
Well, that's kind of true, but why can't we get it across to them that the real problem is if we could teach children how special they are and why. There's an organization out here I'm trying to keep in touch with, I'm trying to get in touch with, called Black Child Development Institute. It specifies black children.
It's a Milwaukee organization, correct?
Right. Well, it's national, but the Milwaukee affiliate is down on 60th and Brown Deer.
Sure is.
I walked down there one day. Nobody was there. I called them. I went to one of it, and I was impressed. They had given children's books to go back to school. But these are all young women. The true creator, the supreme being, meant for black women to rule the world. I know that. They're the only entity out here that has it, and they don't know it. If you ever get the chance, there's too much to go into on the phone, look up ABDA PLAYA. That's aptoplaya.
Spell it again for me. ABDA.
PLAYA. Applier. Everybody should know what these black people did. They invented everything, and they did it by staring at the stars. This is true. These are white dudes telling us this. This is true. They built the pyramids. Then they were dispersed from Egypt because everybody wanted Egypt. But they didn't go away. They circulated throughout Africa, and this was like thousands of years ago. I believe that genius is in a whole lot of black children today, and some of them are so frustrated at not being able to use it, they're out here stealing Kias and Hondas. I swear, if we could teach them that you are special, you are extra special, we wouldn't have all these problems.
Thank you, John.
But all right.
I appreciate your call. All right, then. I actually am going to talk about the black children today. Glad that John brought that up. Also, John is 87 years old and has a job and goes to work, and he walks to work 1.25 miles, he said. Some of y'all are fat and don't walk anywhere, and you're not even close to 87. He's an inspiration. I would vote for John for president. Joe Biden is going to be 81 on the 20th, next week. I would vote for John over Joe Biden. Thankfully, John is not running because John would probably win. Y'all got to have more respect for the elderly people. 87 years old and he walks to work.
And gets good customer reviews.
Because he opens the door for women. I know what he's trying to do. I know what he's doing with that.
Bob, take notes.
Hey there, young lady. John, I'm 87 years old. Just because there's snow on the roof doesn't mean there's not a fire in the basement or whatever it is, they say. All right, I'm going to take a break and then try and figure out why Americans rate crime as a problem, major problem, an escalating problem nationally and locally, but the criminal is leading the old person in the polls. We're going to talk about it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is Sherwin Hughes from The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And Truth Nation, you can now watch my show live on YouTube every day from 9 a.m. until noon. Yep, you can get 3 full hours of watching Sherwin doing his thing streaming live on YouTube Monday through Friday. You'll get the same insightful conversations about policy, politics, and lifestyle while also seeing my reaction to the unpredictability of our listeners. So go to YouTube right now, subscribe to 1017 The Truth, and see this wonderful smile live every day.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With inflation rising at record levels and incomes not keeping pace, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596 or visit www.kwwf.org. That's 800-506-5596 or visit www.kwwf.org.
Hey, it's Jason Wildig for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Sharon needed legal help. she needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Sybaris Pool Suites. Romantic, luxurious, affordable. A place where romance touches paradise and the memories of a lifetime are made. Sybaris offers a variety of room styles, including the exquisite Chalet Suite, which spans 3 levels and features your own private swimming pool with cascading waterfall, soothing whirlpool tub, a cozy fireplace, and much more to make your stay unforgettable. They are located in Mequon, just north of Milwaukee. Take a virtual tour at Sybaris.com.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Yeah. What? Yeah. And what the people say.
So the first call we got today was from Brian. I haven't heard Brian call before, so thank you, Brian, if you're a first-time caller of this show. And Brian was remarking on how his vehicle, a Toyota, got stolen, and they used the onboard diagnostics port. They basically hacked his car and stole it. And Brian's Toyota was recovered on the south side. And he was countering the widely understood narrative that, oh, it's north side black children that are stealing these cars. And he said, no. Whoever stole his car was relatively sophisticated versus how you steal a Hyundai or a Kia with the iPhone charger. They use the onboard diagnostics port, and his vehicle was recovered on the south side. And then Brian said, probably a poor choice of words, he said his car was found in Mexican Town, which when I heard it, I was like, oh, that probably isn't going to play well with some south side folks who are not at all Mexican and resent their neighborhood being called Mexican Town. But I knew what he meant. And then 414-403 texted in and said, what is Mexican Town? Not all Hispanics are Mexican. Ignorant generalization. Much? I mean, it's the city of Milwaukee is divided. It used to be the South Side was for the Latino population. Now the South Side, depends on where. It's very diverse racially, but economically not so diverse because the South Side has always had the cheaper rent. It's very cheaper comparatively to live on the South Side. That's why our schools used to reflect the segregation. Like, we flaunted it. They don't call it these names anymore. Well, no, South Division and North Division are still called the division schools. But there used to be a West Division. Now it's High School of the Arts. And there used to be, y'all know this one? What did Riverside used to be called? East Division. So you had a North Division, a South Division, the East Division, and a West Division. If that does not say we are a segregated city, then literally nothing does. I am unfamiliar with other cities of our comparable size that name their schools for the neighborhoods in which they segregate. But they left North Division the same. They didn't change that name. They changed East Division to Riverside. They changed West Division to the High School of the Arts. Did I ever tell you guys? Well, yeah, I did. This man that I don't know found the show. This is years ago. And he used to listen to the show. He's a white fella. And his family was from Milwaukee. He grew up in Milwaukee. But then his parents moved to California. So you'll notice that a lot of Caucasian folks used to live in traditionally North Side neighborhoods 70, 80 years ago. Well, not even that long ago. 50 or 60 years ago. So North Side, 99% black census tracts used to be inhabited by German folk a long time ago. And they have an incredible history of living on the North Side, right? They talk about it with great fondness, how Milwaukee was a long time ago. And so this fella who happened to find my show, parents moved out to California. He was born here, but then during the the white flight. Some white folks just moved to the suburbs. Some left the Midwest altogether to get away from the coming blacks. Okay. And his mother passed away. She was in her 80s, I believe. And he was cleaning out her affects and found these two yearbooks. And because he was familiar with this program and some of the things that we talk about and how the tide has changed in the city of Milwaukee, he who lives in California told me, he's like, hey, he sent me a Facebook inbox. Said, sure, when I found my mother's old yearbooks, one was from West Division. The other was from Washington High School, because she went to West Division for her freshman and sophomore year, and then Washington High School for her junior and her senior year. And he said, Sherwin, I don't want to throw these yearbooks away. I don't want to keep them. I don't need them. Would you like them? I said, hells yeah, I want them. So in pristine condition, I have a Washington High School from like 1954 and a West Division High School yearbook from like 1955. And it's just, I can't even describe it. Seeing the Washington High School Golder basketball team is all white. Seeing the drama club, seeing the young debutantes club, seeing the young home economics leaders of America after school affiliation. It is just unbelievable. And so, of course, I had to look for the black students. I don't believe in that yearbook there was a single black student at West Division, but I did find an African-American student picture in the Washington High School yearbook. Just one, like one black boy and then one black girl in that school. And that was just in the 1950s. Now, I don't know if you have any Caucasian children that go to that school, but I just found it so fascinating just how the race and the culture of our neighborhoods have changed so quickly in such a short period of time. You know what I should do? I should bring those yearbooks here. They're just fascinating to look at. Rhea, you would be astonished at what Washington High School looked like in the 1950s. Not like it looks right now. It looks very different now in the Sherman Park neighborhood. I'm going to take a break, come back. I do have some things I want to share with you about black children, but it's not quite what you think. We'll talk about that in a little while. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Together, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. With this commitment, we want to celebrate Small Business Saturdays by highlighting locally owned Black businesses leading up to Small Business Saturdays. Tune in to The Truth from November 16th to November 22nd as we speak with 5 Black-owned businesses about their journey through entrepreneurship. Whatever your financial needs are, Associated Bank can help. Members FDIC.
Times of transition, whether from a sad event or a joyful one, can leave us feeling adrift. Social connections are an important part of a healthy life. Being isolated and lonely can be harmful to your health. It can lead to high blood pressure, a greater risk of heart disease, and early onset dementia. So it's important to build and maintain connections to people, not just in your family, but others whose relationships bring meaning to your life. Trying a new hobby, volunteering, exercising, even using your phone or other device to stay in touch with others. All these can be great ways to keep up your social connections and your physical and mental well-being. Visit connecttoeffect.org to see if you're at risk of social isolation and find ways to get connected. Presented by AARP Foundation with support from United Healthcare.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions, get answers. Connect today toll-free, 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Hailstorms can cause widespread damage to one's home. After these storms, dishonest contractors show up, hoping to make a quick buck from your insurance claim. They'll promise anything if they can get you to sign a contract, collect your payment in advance, and ultimately do no work at all. Avoid being the victim of contractor fraud. Get estimates from at least 3 contractors. Check references, and remember, if you didn't request it, reject it.
To report fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB. This is a public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I'm going to read your comments in a minute. I'm going to read the text messages. I'm going to read the YouTube conversation. So when I go to YouTube and read the chat stream, it doesn't even really include me. I feel like I'm eavesdropping on other people's conversation about somebody else. Every now and again, they may bring me up. But whenever I talk about women folk, oh, Barbara gets mad. Ooh, she gets mad. I'm not the enemy here. I support the women folk. I would never, ever, ever vote for a pro-life candidate. I would never, ever vote for someone who doesn't support women's rights and equal pay. Never. In fact, in the years that I've been doing political consulting, the majority of the candidates whose campaigns I've assisted, the majority of the people that I've raised money for, like political contributions for, have been women. Black women at that. Like, I'm not the enemy here. Now, here's the problem that folks don't like. I have an opinion. They don't like that. It's just like, shut up, Sherwin. You're a man. Just do what women say and don't say anything about them. That's not fair, because women that support men have every single right to be critical of us. And I don't take it personally, really, when a woman is critical of a man, because I also know she's speaking from her experience with men. So it is what it is, right? When asked if Biden's age or Trump's criminal charges were a bigger problem when it came to their fitness for the presidency, respondents were split. About 42% said Trump's criminal charges were the bigger problem, while 41% said Biden's age was the problem. Just as many people have an issue with Biden's age as Trump's criminality. I don't think that they're even comparable. Obviously, age is a big deal, and we literally hate old people. And maybe John brought up a very good point. That young people nowadays, who, let's be clear, they don't vote. But young people nowadays, maybe they don't know their grandparents. But I think they do know their grandparents, but young people today don't have the same kinds of grandparents that older generations had. We had a big mama. Now they got gilfs, grandmas. Some kids call their grandmothers by their first names. Some grandmothers are in the club now. Some grandmothers are 37 years old. What's the math on that? To be a grandmother at 37. So if you had a child at 15, then your child would be 22 when you're 37. Is that correct math? That is. You're 37. You had a child at 15. Your child is 22. Your 22-year-old child got pregnant at 15, because it does tend to be consistent from one generation to the next. A teen mama has a baby, and then the baby that the teen mama has turns into a teenager, and then they become a teen parent as well. So now that 37-year-old grandmother has a 7-year-old grandchild. In 8 years, when that grandchild is 15, the grandmama will be 45, and the grandchild could potentially have a baby if they follow suit. Now you're a great-grandmother at 45. That is not the same as the grandmother that I had, the big mama I had. From my earliest memories, my very early memory, and I've got a fantastic memory. I remember many things. I think it's because my family took a lot of pictures, a lot of photo albums. And so you go through the photo albums, and you can always keep the moment in which that picture was taken, or the occasion stays fresh in your mind when you have a photo to look at, right? That's why we keep our photos now, because it's a constant reminder of that thing that we did, or the place that we went to, the vacations that we took, et cetera, so they stay fresh in our minds. My grandmother was always old, even when I was young. I remember when my parents were way younger than I am right now. I remember my parents is almost young people. But my grandmother was old from like when I was 3. She was just old, still sharp, still witty. I get my sense of humor from her. My mother is funny, actually. My mother's got a good sense of humor. My dad, he's not really funny. We laugh at him, but that's what parents are for, just somebody to laugh at. My mother is funny. My mother is funny and doesn't know that she's funny. I think I got my sense of humor from my grandmother. But she was always an old lady. Now, grandmas are young, and I think culturally that has an impact. You almost can have a mother and a grandmother that are nearly the same generation. I worked at South Division High School many, many, many years ago, managing the after-school programs, the Community Learning Center. And we see the kids during the day. This was 20 plus years ago. So first thing I got to tell you, girls fight more than boys do. I don't know if that still is true at public schools. Girls would fight like 3 times a day, usually over a boy, believe it or not. The boys, they would fight every now and again, but overwhelming. The number of fights were girls. So you get to know the students, right? A lot of the students participate in the after-school programs. And then you'd have, every so often, they'd have parent-teacher conferences. Let me be clear, most parents, at least back then, did not attend parent-teacher conferences. And here's the thing that blew my mind, because the first time I was exposed like this to students that we got to know, and then their parents, when their parents would come to school for different events. And South Division was very much like a community school. They would host different events for the community to come in. They used to have a bank. I'm not kidding you. South Division High School used to have a bank in the school called Cardinal Bank, like a real bank, like an FDIC actual bank. And the students were employees of the bank. And that bank gave mortgages to people that lived in the surrounding community. And the teachers and administrators that worked at South Division High School would deposit their checks in that bank. It was really a neat concept. I don't know what happened to it. It probably got robbed. I'm not sure. But here's what was crazy. So I get to know the kids during the school day and the after-school programs. And then when the parents would come in, when I say parents, it was the moms. And I'd see the mamas come in like for conferences or whatever. And I'd be like, this makes no sense. Because I would recognize the mamas by the clothes the mamas was wearing, because the mamas would wear their kids' clothes. You see what I'm saying? Like the girls that was in high school would share clothes with their mothers, and I would see the same outfit on the mama coming to the conferences. The craziest thing ever, and the clothes fit. Is that a thing where mothers wear their kids' clothes? Rhea, does your mother raid your closet? Say, I need a blouse. I need some slacks. Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, I raid her closet, but then we kind of share clothes here and there sometimes when we live together.
I used to take my father's ties.
That's valid.
Yeah, because, what's he going to do? And he had a lot of ties. I used to didn't have a lot of ties. Now I've got many ties. Sometimes when I get bored, I go tie shopping.
I haven't seen them.
I don't wear ties here, because why would I do that?
Oh.
Whenever I dress up here, y'all look at me funny. Kyle really looks at me funny when I dress up here because he thinks I'm applying for another job. He always has like a look of suspicion. Like, oh, okay. Huh. What are you doing after the show? I don't know. Going to WISN to have a conversation. About 42% said Trump's criminal charges were the bigger problem, while 41% said it was Biden's age. Only 8% said neither was a problem. Biden's age remains a concern among voters, including those within his own party. As he approaches his 81st birthday on the 20th of November, 73% of Democrats said it was a problem when it came to his fitness for the presidency. But Trump's criminality is not substantially more of a problem when it comes to his fitness for the presidency when Donald Trump is telling people how he's going to weaponize the federal government against his political enemies. When asked about Trump's criminal charges, only 40% of Republicans say they would be a problem for the former president. A majority of respondents, at 60%, said Biden was not fit to serve another term. That's even worse than the first statistic. When asked about Trump's criminal charges, only 40% of Republicans said that would be a problem for Trump. But 60% said Biden was not fit to serve because of his age. That is insanity to me. Biden is more unfit for office because of his age than Donald Trump, who violated federal and state law in maintaining classified documents and being very fast and loose with them, possibly selling them to foreign nations. And a RICO case in the state of Georgia where there are 19 defendants because they worked together as a crime syndicate to overturn the election results in this country. But Biden is the problem. The poll was conducted among 1,584 adults November 9th through 13th and has a margin of error of 2.8 percentage points. Respondents were more split on whether Trump is fit enough to serve another term in the White House, with 49% saying he was not fit and 38% saying that he was. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Let me read what they're talking about in the YouTube. See how bad I'm getting bashed. Zuri Tribe says, Truth family? Then Zuri says, I guess I won't say I like Sherwin's shirt on his brown skin because he thinks it means I'm hot in the pants. Well, that's exactly what it means. The way she describes my clothes, she's, ooh, Sherwin. She'll type it out in the YouTube comments. Ooh, Sherwin wearing that black shirt on his chocolatey skin. When Sherwin sweats, it looks like a Hershey bar just melting in my pocket. Thanks, Zuri. See what else we got. Francis Dobbs says, it's funny to me because you're so expressive in your mannerisms, so the camera adds to the show. I got to be more mindful of that. Of my facial expressions, especially when certain people call. I can't help it. That's why I could never do television news. You know that when people do the news, you ever watch like the morning news or the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news? They're reading off of a teleprompter. That's all they're doing. They can't give their opinion. They can barely react. Every now and again, they'll do like an off the cuff kind of segment where they talk about something local or something. And it's always really uncomfortable and awkward. TV news people are like robots. I'm not a robot. Creation Muse says Biden seems incoherent. Trump still seems coherent. Off face value, it just looks bad. Imagine choosing an agent to represent you. Now listen to Trump versus Biden speaking. One mumbles, the other speaks clear. Is our standard that low for a president? Even if Joe Biden is mumbling, most of y'all don't even really know what he's talking about anyway, because nobody follows politics like that. Now, I'm not picking on you, Creation Muse, but I think it's sad. All of a sudden, Joe Biden is like hated because he's old. But I just want y'all to know that life is not complete without a sense of irony. We're going to get old too, if you're lucky enough to get old. And maybe that's what it is, the fear of that's what old age looks like. So Joe Biden falls a lot. Have you noticed that he falls like 3 or 4 times a day? He falls walking upstairs. He falls walking downstairs. Sometimes Joe Biden goes on stage to present things at different. He was given, I don't know, a graduation speech or commencement speech, and he is standing there. He just, oops, he just fell over. He just falls sometimes. He just falls. Sometimes it's very windy. He'll fall. He's fallen into Jill Biden before. Jill, for some reason, doesn't fall. She's very sturdy, but he falls a lot. That's because when you get old, you fall because your leg muscles and stuff get weak. That's just a part of it. Doesn't mean he's not mentally fit. The black president liked him. How come that's not good enough? Obama picked him, and then Obama gave him as a signal, a wink and a nod to us, but y'all didn't catch that clue either. Obama made us read between the lines because Obama, as a black dude, couldn't say stuff the way we usually say and hear stuff. He had to be covert. It's unfortunate that not enough of us African Americans who need the political system and this democracy to function in order for us to get our rights and have our rights secured by law don't understand the political code language. And I do my level best to try and decipher political code language, the symbolisms of presidents when they are trying to tell a certain segment of the American people. So they call it red meat when the Republicans do it, right? When the Republicans talk about like building the wall and immigrants and all that other stuff, that's racist code language, right? They can't say, we hate the Mexicans. They can't say that. They say, oh, build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it, right? So they understand that very well. Democrats don't understand it so much. So when Barack Obama gave Joe Biden the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is unequivocally, without question, the highest honor a president can bestow on another. Presidents don't give their vice presidents those medals. They reserve those for like dignitaries, people that have been doing charity work since they were 10 years old, and they get the medal when they're 97 years old. You got to do something really major. You got to be groundbreaking in the arts, in media. Like you have to be substantial. Basically, it's like a president awarding someone the equivalent of a Nobel Peace Prize. Obama gave it to Joe Biden. That was a signal to us that, hey, this is what Obama was saying. Have you guys seen the Key and Peele skit where Obama has a translator? Rhea, you know what I'm talking about? Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. Like Obama's like, oh, this is very interesting. And then his translator, y'all a bunch of idiots. And then Obama will say something that's just kind of benign. And then his translator actually speaks Obama's mind because Obama couldn't be that outright with his blackness. When Obama gave Joe Biden that medal, that was the signal to us that this dude is all right. He's okay. He worked with him for 8 years, got to know him real good. Joe Biden, I bet he provided a lot of wise counsel to Barack Obama. You know what the most important thing that I believe Joe Biden bestowed upon the former president? How to deal with white people in Congress. Because white people in Congress are different than white people that are not in Congress, especially if you represent very conservative, evangelical, outwardly, inwardly racist members of Congress, because of the hundreds of thousands of people that live in a congressional district. That member of Congress is all of those sentiments of all of those people in that district that vote for them. So you get like a hyper racist, like a super duper race, like concentrated racism, like racism from concentrate, because they are reflective of those people in that northern Mississippi district and that central Louisiana district. And dealing with those members of Congress is way worse than dealing with one individual who might have negative racial proclivities. But now all of a sudden Joe Biden just got too old. He's always been old. But it's unfortunate that our former president, because Obama was a very good president. I don't know a president that was better. Name one. There wasn't one who was better than Obama. Nobody was better. Bill Clinton was all right till Obama. Kennedy was all right till he lost his mind, literally. Abraham Lincoln didn't like us very much. He hated the South a little bit more, but he didn't care for us that much. We were freed not because it was right, because the South was punished for trying to form their own country. So their property was essentially relinquished. But he was the best president. And if the best president says Joe Biden is okay, well, then he's okay for me. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The 1017 The Truth Street Team, sponsored by UW Credit Union, is coming to an event near you. It is homecoming week for the Milwaukee Panthers, and to celebrate, our 1017 The Truth Street Team will be handing out swag at the Panthers home game this Friday night from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Come enjoy a great men's basketball game between the Milwaukee Panthers and Luther College while hanging out with the Truth Street Team. Get your tickets now by visiting Ticketmaster.com. The 1017 The Truth Street Team is sponsored by UW Credit Union. They are here for every you.
Are record energy costs putting a squeeze on your fixed or limited incomes? With inflation rising at record levels and incomes not keeping pace, you might be one of tens of thousands of Wisconsin residents who are struggling to survive in the blistering heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter. While you haven't asked for it, the Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy assistance providers are here to help. No Wisconsin resident should ever have to face the challenge of living without heat or power or face homelessness. For a hand up, apply today and call 1-800-506-5596 or visit www.kwwf.org. That's 800-506-5596 or visit www.kwwf.org.
Hey, it's Jason Wildig for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Adrian was seriously injured when a careless driver merged into her lane.
Gruber was there for everything that I needed. Any questions that I had, Gruber was there. They made me feel like everything about my situation and my accident was very important to them. And that made me feel good. And I would definitely call Gruber again for that.
Serving Wisconsin for over 35 years, Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They go above and beyond for their clients.
It's me time at Chula Vista. Time for you to pamper yourself with Wisconsin's most complete resort experience. Easygoing with scenic river walks, 18 holes of golf, a relaxing spa, or going all out in 80,000 square feet of indoor water park. Ziplining, scenic canyons, all right here. Check it out at chulavistaresort.com.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
King Ant said, "Where do y'all get your names from?" But he said, "You're funny, my guy. Obama and Biden are the same." Then 414 King Ant says, "Invite me to the show." Well, that's an easy one to answer. Nope. Barbara says, oh, Barbara's in the chat. Barbara says, "I'd much rather vote for a mumbler than vote for someone who enunciates clearly if what he is enunciating clearly is nothing but hate. Not to mention he's a criminal, sexual assault, etc." Barbara says, "Whatever happened to our CIA? Don't they have a job to do?" Barbara, you got to be careful saying that. I know what you were talking about. You got to be careful. I know people that have had the Secret Service show up at their door because of comments they made on social media. Please be careful. Let's talk to. Hello, Kiana. How are you?
Hey, Sherwin. You took so long, I almost forgot what I wanted to say.
I can't answer your calls right away. That's not how this works. I know that
I
everybody
know.
else in
I'm
your
just
life
messing with you. I'm
caters to
just
you
messing with you.
immediately, but I can't do that.
Oh, yeah. Everybody else in my life does. That's exactly right. That's why life is awesome. But anyways, your comment earlier about you supporting women, you do know that misogynistic men do support women, especially when they think those women are doing things that women should quote unquote do. I just wanted to let you know you can't use it as an offense. That's not why I called, though, but I did want to let you know that.
And you're right, because racist people also have black friends. No, you're right. Misogynistic men will also give comfort and aid. You're right. Correct. But I'm not misogynistic.
Yes. I didn't say you was, but Barbara sure thinks that you are.
Yeah, Barbara hates my guts.
And so you, yeah. But the Biden thing, I think somebody else, I think you read a message about what I wanted to say was, I don't think it's his age, because him and Donald Trump are only 3 years apart. I think it's his physical look. He looks weaker. And yeah, it should matter, but we live in a world where images do matter. That's the reason why, people, when they have clothes, they get the pretty models and, things like that. Whatever image you put out for your brand is what people are going to remember. So he's the face of the United States, and people think of it as being weak. But they don't understand that they should vote for him for his mind, not his physical body, because it's not like he's going to go arm wrestle with people.
I agree.
That don't make sense.
You're right. Appreciate your call.
All right.
Okay. Till she calls again. Thank you, Ken. Oh, look who's on the phone. I'm so lucky to be talking to Bob. What is this you want to say about black women taking Trump to court?
Black women, I don't think that would have never happened when I was younger, in 7, 8, 9, 10. But a black woman ordered Trump or his lawyers to come to court. I'm sure he didn't like that, boy. His daddy didn't rent the blacks. He tried not to rent the blacks. But now a black woman ordered his behind to come to court. And, blacks need, a lot of us blacks try to look positive in a way. Well, when we were stuck on a plantation, not me, but our ancestors were stuck on a plantation, couldn't go nowhere. Now we can quit a job, have a black woman ordering Trump to court, and two things that I need to say that we need to understand, that I believe we need to understand. Trump is not getting elected, number one. If he does, it will be the beginning of Noah and the ark. And I'm surprised you haven't read the Bible. And the second thing is, there's not going to be a civil war. That's about it, Sherwin, because I don't want to go into because I'll go into
I know
it.
you will.
I got 1,000 things to say.
Well,
I
don't think that there'll be a civil war either. I think people will threaten it, but I don't believe it'll happen. Also, it's very likely that Trump could get reelected, because Joe Biden right now, not Joe Biden of the pandemic, not Joe Biden of people wanting some kind of racial justice with a Democrat potentially signing some, legislation into law that would, protect us from bad police behavior. Like, not Joe Biden, who was pro-vaccine, was going to do everything he could to get vaccines out to people. That was a different Joe Biden than the Joe Biden we have right now. The Joe Biden that we have right now, this is my opinion, and this is somebody that I'm going to support. I'm going to vote for him. I'm going to promote his campaign. I'm going to interview his vice president and all of his surrogates. Joe Biden is easier to beat and will be easier to beat in 2024 than Hillary Clinton was in 2016. That is what my concern is, because it's not like he has to lose a large number of votes. If everything remains relatively the same as it was in 2020, which it isn't, because there's double the amount of African-American men that support Trump now that did not support him in 2020. if everything remains the same, Joe Biden gets 40,000 less votes, Trump gets reelected. We're not talking about millions of votes. We're talking about basically the number of votes that you can get from the north side of Milwaukee could determine the entire presidential election. That's why I'm concerned.
I understand what you're saying, Sherwin. And however, I really like what that 87-year-old man said. Biden is going to sweep him at the end. And I'll talk to you later. I really believe that.
All right.
He's going to sweep all. I'll talk to you.
Bob laughs for no reason. There was nothing funny. Take a break, come back. Do y'all want to talk about black kids? I got some stuff about them. You think so? If you had money and you could buy a black kid, would you buy one? You wouldn't spend money on a black kid? I mean, technically, I guess you could just have one for free.
I was going to say, I can make one for free.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, not free, but free.
Cheaper for you than for the man, potentially.
Well,
let's do the math. It could be, especially if you marry him and you divorce him, then the kid could potentially be an asset. You get a life insurance policy on the kid. The life insurance policy goes up in value. You could borrow against that, potentially.
But I have to have it first.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, some of you may think differently about this next topic I'm going to bring up. How much did you pay for a black child? Good health, decent teeth. You got to have good teeth. What else do they look for? Good jumping ability. I don't know. How much no, I'm serious. I'm being honest with you. Like, what value would you assign to the purchase of a black child? Because you can buy them now. You guys don't believe me? Well, we're going to talk about it on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. This is your Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin Community Impact Moment on 1017 The Truth.
What was the life change? You know, we all know it happened and we know things happen and you have bad kidneys, but what was the life change afterwards?
A couple things. Before they even allow you to get on the list, they make you go through a battery of tests. And, you know, a lot of people don't qualify because they're overweight or they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So all those things are requirements before you can even get approved to be on the list. So I had...
Wait, you got to be approved to be on the list?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's interesting. There's a professional athlete or former professional athlete I know right now that has kidney disease and he's on dialysis and he wants to get on the list and he's not accepting all the things you have to do, you know, to get on the list. But yeah, so for me, I spent 30 years in the automobile industry. You know, that's 12, 14-hour days, eating whatever somebody brings you to eat, whatever you run out and grab, McDonald's, whatever. It was never salads and, you know.
Yeah, but that was a choice, right?
It was a choice. Yeah. But I had to change all of that to even qualify to be on the list. I had to get down to the weight I had to be at. I had to get my phosphorus under control, my potassium under control.
Wait a minute, even though somebody said they would give you a kidney,
absolutely,
you had to still make yourself eligible?
Absolutely.
Nah, that's okay.
When I mentioned the athlete, his relative actually died, and they wanted to take his organs, and they couldn't because he wasn't qualified. He wasn't on the list. Wow. Yeah, you have to be.
So there are over 100,000 people on that waiting list. So they are very serious.
And how many donors do we have?
And that's the problem. We don't have nearly enough donors.
Wow.
And that's why it's such a critical need. But they are serious about who they're giving that gift of life to because there are so many people who are literally dying waiting for it.
To make an impact by donating blood in your community, visit versity.org today.
Hey, Southeastern Wisconsin, it's Bobby Portis here. Let you know that no matter what position you play on the court or what job you hold off the court, you can join me and over 225,000 members who have added Educators Credit Union to their starting lineup. Learn more at ecu.com. Membership eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
The Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce would like to invite you to attend their upcoming Black and Diverse Business Showcase on Friday, December 8th at the Baird Center in downtown Milwaukee. This informative showcase will be an excellent opportunity for business-to-business networking and business-to-consumer connecting. Truth Nation, you should be there. Sign up to attend this incredible Black and Diverse Business Showcase on Friday, December 8th at the Baird Center in downtown Milwaukee today by visiting twbcc.com. You should be there.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
How much would you pay for a healthy black baby? There's a going rate. Or how much would you pay for an Asian baby? Caucasian baby, maybe? If you had your choice of babies to buy, you're on a limited budget. You want to buy a baby. Which baby would you prefer? From NPR, 6 words. Black babies cost less to adopt. Americans adopt thousands of children each year, and the nation has become increasingly diverse. And with the growth of international adoption in recent decades, many of those children don't look like their adoptive parents. I want to talk about transracial adoption. Don't let me forget. I want to talk about that. Somebody remind me, because I guarantee I'll forget or go on to something. You're going to remind me, Rhea, about, transracial adoption. That intersection of race and adoption has prompted many people to submit their 6 words to the Race Card Project, including this submission from a woman in Louisiana: black babies cost less to adopt. Other contributors have also addressed the skin color-based fee structure for many adoptions, including Karen Lance of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Her 6 words are, quote, navigating world as transracial adopted family. Lance and her husband, both white, are the adoptive parents of 2 African-American boys. The couple had struggled for years to conceive their own child. When they finally decided to turn to adoption, they were willing to adopt kids of another race. But they were concerned by what they discovered about the different costs. Lance says she remembers a phone call with an adoption agency social worker, and she was telling us about these different fee structures that they had based on the ethnic background of the child, and they also had a sort of different track for adoptive parents. Moving through the process would be quicker if the family was open to adopting an African-American, not biracial, but black child. The social worker explained that to her, and that is because they have children of color waiting. Adopting biracial, Latino, Asian, or Caucasian children could be a slower process, she was told, because there were more parents waiting for them. Now, let me see if I can read this really small text. Hang on, everybody. Wait a minute. There it is. Okay, so this is from an adoption agency in Minneapolis. At the top in bold letters, it says, available adoption situations. Please read more about our available adoption situations on the lower right sidebar. So I have a document right here in front of me. It's a scanned copy of a document. Okay, it reads like a menu. First on the menu, African American baby due any day, $17,000 plus legals. Biracial, AA, which is African American, and NA. Biracial AA/NA girl. Biracial African American / Native American girl. Due August 18th. $22,500 plus $2,500 in legal fees plus medical. Biracial CC/HISP, Caucasian and Hispanic, baby due September 15th. $30,500 plus $4,500 in legal. African American girl due September 26th, $17,000 plus 6 to 8 in medical expenses, meaning the adoptive parents would be paying the medical expenses for the mom who obviously agreed to give her child up for adoption. And because the mother agreed while the mother is still pregnant, the adoption agency or this whatever organization that this is looking for parents to adopt this child that has not yet been born. But just so far on the menu, I've got the first one was African American baby. They didn't give the gender, $17,000. The biracial child that's up for adoption or will be up for adoption because it was due in August is $22,500. So that's more than the black child. The biracial child is more than both of them at $30,500. That's a white and Hispanic baby. African American girl, she's $17,000. Biracial Caucasian and African American girl due October 12th, $25,000 plus $8,000 to $10,000 in medical expenses for the birth mother. African American girl due October 15th, $17K. African American boy due October 22nd, $17K. So black babies are $17,000 pretty consistently. Biracial boy due late October. Any guesses? How much do you think the biracial? And it does not say, I'm assuming because it says biracial, it probably means black and white. He's 30 grand. Caucasian baby due late October, 28,000. Here's another African American baby due November 18th, 17,000 plus $6,000 to $8,000 in medical. So what I'm seeing is that these black women don't have medical insurance because you got to pay the medical bills as an associated fee to adopt the child. Oh, who is this one here? Caucasian baby due in February, $29,000 plus $7,000 in legals. And then in parentheses, it says, mom would like an open adoption with a few visits per year. So did y'all know this? Some of you may have adopted children. I thought that didn't nobody want them babies. That's what you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you? Let's say you want a baby. And these are the babies that, for whatever the reason, I'm not casting any negative dispersion on why a woman would put her child up for adoption. Maybe she's very pro-life. She didn't want to have an abortion, but she knew she wasn't in a place, maybe financially or emotionally, to take care of a baby. I get it. I understand. I understand to the extent I can understand. I'll never be able to really understand. But then why do you got to pay for the baby? When you go to the pound to get a dog, bad comparison. You pay for a dog, you got to pay like for their shots and stuff.
I think you have to also buy the dog.
But aren't these dogs that are going to get put to sleep? Now, we hope they don't put these babies to sleep, right? We hope, because the dogs, if they don't get adopted, some shelters are kill shelters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't adopt the dog, they kill it real bad. I mean, maybe not real bad, but they do something to it to where it's unalived. But why are they charging money for something that's going to die? Should we look that up? I don't want to make this comparison. I feel icky. But I just didn't know that these costs, that means that there is a class system built into the adoption system. What if there's a black family that can't conceive? Or a family of any race, but they don't have a lot of money, but they want a baby. Like, they're doing okay. I'd imagine there's an interview. You interview the mother, you interview the father, the adoptive potential, adoptive mother, adoptive father. They got to provide some information about who they are. Do they have a house? Where do they live? What their jobs are, to see if they'd be a fit for adopting. But if they don't have a lot of money, they have enough money to take care of a baby. But who has got $29,000 for a white baby?
According to Beyonce's internet, adoption expenses are based off of legal fees and attorneys and social workers and government administrators. So you're paying for those services versus the child.
So on this list that I have from an adoption agency in Minnesota, it does have legal fees, right? So I see that. But this Caucasian baby, which is due late October, is $28,000 plus $8,000 in legal fees. So there's a baby cost and legal fees. So do they put these babies up for auction? This sounds eerily familiar of another era of American history. And we got a baby, got a black baby, got a black baby, 25,000, 25. That was terrible. That was awful, wasn't it? No, you guys got to understand. This is very disturbing for me to read. They have the race of these children when the children are born and the fees and the black children. They can't even have one black baby. That's a $50,000 black baby. That baby could be the next Jay-Z or the next baby Martin Luther King. There's not all of the black children on this list, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 14 children on this list. All of the black children that are full black, not biracial, are all $17,000. The Caucasian baby is $29,000. This Caucasian baby is $28,000. This biracial child is $30,000. That's an interesting one. Plus $7,000 in legal fees. Oh, you're going to love this one, y'all. African-American boy due October 22nd, $17,000 plus $6,000 to $8,000 in medical, but then they have in parentheses, mom smokes cigarettes. Yikes. This is so disturbing. Biracial Caucasian African-American girl, she's $25,000. Here's another black girl, $17,000. All the black kids are $17,000. African-American girl due in September, $17,000. African-American baby due any day now, $17,000. It says a screen grab detailing the race-based cost differential for children being placed by various agencies. The original page appeared on the website for an adoption agency consulting group that links potential parents with adoption agencies. This fee structure has been common for some time throughout the adoption system. The group no longer posts this information online, and now they're asking to remain anonymous. Well, of course, this is awful. Quote, and I remember hearing this and sort of being dumbfounded that they would sort of segregate, to use a loaded term, segregate these children by ethnic background before they were even in this world. That's when I started to realize that, okay, being a parent of a child of a different ethnic background is going to be some work. There's going to be a lot of work on our end in order to be successful parents and to get our child ready for this world. And I think the story goes on to say that this couple that had tried to conceive on their own adopted a black child, and they're a white couple. The question, how do you guys feel about transracial adoption? The most common example that I'm familiar with, I know there are other examples, a white family that adopts black children. I think Amy Coney Barrett, our Supreme Court Justice, real conservative lady, I think she's got a whole bunch of black adopted kids. Somebody else got black adopted kids. Angelina Jolie just goes and adopts kids from different countries. Somebody else has a...
Well, hold on now about Angelina Jolie. Her baby just made a Divine 9.
The black one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She goes to Spelman College, and she's like today.
Good for them.
So I think she's doing it all right.
The current Speaker of the House. What name? Mike Jones? Mike Johnson? Mike something? He's got a black 17-year-old. I talked about that briefly last week. Do you guys know that the new elected Republican Speaker of the House has an internet monitor where he has somebody that, like a sponsor, where he gives access to another person to monitor his internet usage, more specifically his porn usage. And then there's the other person, the Speaker of the House gets to monitor their porn usage as well. And so if they see one another clicking on things that are deemed inappropriate, they call each other or they have a conversation about it. The Speaker of the House, his porn internet sponsor is his 17-year-old son, who's black. Yeah. Oh, he's got a black 17-year-old. I think that's stupid, because a grown man, I mean, within reason, should be able to look at whatever he wants to look at on the internet without his 17-year-old child having access to what the daddy is looking at. Like, grown men can look at stuff that 17-year-old kids can't. So I don't think that's fair for the 17-year-old to say, hey, Dad, why were you on donkeynuts.com? You shouldn't do that. I'm taking your phone away, Dad. The truth was Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey Truth Nation, it's your girl Melanie Ricks from Nothing But the Truth, and I am so happy to let you know the best radio show in Milwaukee is now streaming live on YouTube every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. Yes, your daily power hour of nonstop entertainment is coming at you live on YouTube every weekday. So Truth Nation, make sure you don't miss Benjamin and I give our hot takes or our Freaky Friday story by watching us live on YouTube and subscribing to 1017 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube.
Hey, it's Jason Wildig for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Denise Thomas with her truth.
Over the past 2 years, I've been very intentional about self-care, including clinical therapy. And one of the many lessons that I've learned includes the biggest one that I've applied, and that is letting go. Oftentimes, we feel as though that we have to hold on to certain relationships, whether it's professional or personal, because we feel a sense of obligation. However, within that relationship, you're always feeling as though it's difficult to love you. You're a bad person. You're not good. Combined with what we're hearing and reading on social media and other news platforms. I want to remind you, as I've learned and gained through therapy, that in any relationship that you're in, it should be elevating your happiness. It should be elevating your joy. It should be providing you prosperity and peace. Don't get me wrong. In any relationship, there's misunderstandings, there's miscommunications, and that's where, as human beings, we allow the relationship to be bigger than that particular incident and say, you know what? When you said this or when you did this, it made me feel this. I may be totally misinterpreting it, but I just wanted you to understand how it made me feel. And in those situations where the continuous behavior makes you feel as though, again, that you're bad or that you're not good, or it's just always exhausting to be in that relationship, let it go. And you can release with love. You can let that person know we're no longer compatible. This does not feel good. I release you, and I release you with love. Let everything that is not bringing you value go so you can be around people, places, and things that bring out the best in you. You deserve it.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth Be Told with DT and Telly weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Eight 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. So Grant was requesting the menu or the price list for children who, let me just read it, that are 2 years old. He says, Professor Hughes, can you also list the fees for children who are already waiting to be adopted, maybe ages 2 years and older? So because of the backlash to what I just read you, these agencies that pair prospective adoptive parents with children, they no longer publish their information online. Could you imagine when people first saw this? And I think this information is a few years old. So now you can't go to a website and see how much it costs to adopt a baby. And rightfully so, because I wish I'd never seen it, because it just conjures up images of the dark past of this nation where people were legitimately for sale. Now, here's what I wonder. Somebody look it up and we'll talk about it in hour 3. Adjusted for inflation, how much did a chattel black child cost in 1857? 1860. Civil War started in 18... When was Fort Sumter? 1859, 1860? Because I'd imagine entering the Civil War, the value of chattel human beings probably went up. Meaning speculators thought, if the South loses the war, then the slaves are going to be free. Buy them while you can. Auctioneers were probably charging more. What was our highest value year? Let's just use a year. Let's use 1859. How much was it to purchase a black child at auction, adjusted for inflation? I wonder if that price is similar to what was listed on this website, the cost of adopting a black child today. Because if it's similar, then that was intentional. Unless our value hasn't changed over time. Our value probably has gone down now. Because now you can't, I don't know. You can't buy us and then make us work. But you can hire us, and the world and bills will require us to work for very, very low wages, which is kind of a modern form of slavery, depends on how you slice it. So somebody looked this up. What was the value of a slave child in the late 1850s, 1860, adjusted for inflation for today's dollars? And I want to do a comparison. I suppose I could look it up, but you guys could look it up. Nay said, laughing my butt off at donkeynuts.com. I was just giving an example of weird stuff that grown men can look at on the internet. And the current Speaker of the House, I think his name is Mike Johnson, he's got an internet sponsor, and he was public about it. He was public about it even before he became Speaker, that he has his 17-year-old black adopted son as his internet sponsor, where they monitor each other's internet usage, including pornography. JD the Poet just sent me a link. $1,300 to $1,600 in today's money? Oh, that's really cheap. So what is this? Auction prices for the enslaved, including children. He just sent this link. Oh, so that's in, what year was this? $1,861. Betts and Gregory, an auction house located on Franklin Street in Richmond, Virginia, advertises the current prices for enslaved African Americans in March 1861. Prices range from $1,600 to $1,300, the latter price being for boys 4 feet high. That's a lot of money. So $1,300 to $1,600 in 1861, if you adjust that for inflation to $2,023, that's kind of costly. I'm assuming that is more than $17,000. I'm going to assume. So I'm going to take a break, do some math, and come back and discuss the cost of black children today versus 1861. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call, That's All Gruber Cash Giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 1017 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call, That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call, That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Together, we are committed to uplifting local organizations and supporting Black-owned businesses. With this commitment, we want to celebrate Small Business Saturdays by highlighting locally owned Black businesses leading up to Small Business Saturdays. Tune in to The Truth from November 16th to November 22nd as we speak with 5 Black-owned businesses about their journey through entrepreneurship. Whatever your financial needs are, Associated Bank can help. Members FDIC.
We didn't know what to expect. We were just left in a hotel.
My mom was doing drugs in the house.
Tay and Brianna spent years of their childhood in homes that weren't safe. They were placed in foster care and longed for a permanent, loving home.
I didn't know what my future was.
I wouldn't speak to anyone. I was afraid of everything.
With help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, Brianna and Tay were adopted and now feel excited about their futures.
I'm studying to be a chef, and I really want to travel the world.
I'm going to be a mechanic. And I could focus on my career.
Right now, in the United States, there are more than 100,000 children in foster care, just like Brianna and Tay, who need a family now. Learn how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Join the livest radio show in Milwaukee, Nothing But the Truth with Melanie Ricks. Listen every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. So I did a little math here. Betts and Gregory, an auction house located on Franklin Street in Richmond, Virginia, advertises the current prices for enslaved African Americans in March of 1861. Prices ranged from $1,600 to $1,300, the latter price being for boys 4 feet high. I'd imagine there's probably some regional differences, depends upon where you were in the South and what the predominant labor-intensive industries were in which your chattel would be working. That could have an impact on the prices. So I found this list, and adoption agencies are these consulting agencies that pair prospective adoptive parents with children don't publish their fees online anymore because obviously it's disturbing to read black child $17,000, white child $29,000, white child $30,000 plus fees and medical expenses. That's very disturbing to read that. And so I got an inflation calculator. And so $1,600, this is in 1861 in Virginia. This is an actual auction document that I'm looking at. Thank you, JD, for sending this in. So $1,600, it says. In today's money, that $1,600 black male is $59,310.07. So we're cheaper now. Quite a bit cheaper. That's, how can I be? I'm offended, right? That's a reason to be offended that we as black people, adjusted for inflation, a black child can be adopted for dramatically less money. Look, I guess because we're not working for free. But they're still making more money off of us, I think. So if you add this up, I probably should prepare a show on this. How much money would a slave generate in revenue and profit? One, because there has to be a figure associated with how much money the labor of a slave created in profit over the life of a slave. And I don't know how long we lived. I'd imagine black women probably live longer than us, but from when they graduate from pickaninny. So if you've heard that term before, it's like a real term. Pickaninny, it's a horrible term. It's a slur. It's awful. It's a very bad term. Don't say it. And if you hear somebody say it, please question them. A pickaninny is a slave child that's too young to do any labor. Have you guys heard that term before, a pickaninny? Rhea, I know you've heard it before. We tend to throw that term around here sometimes. A pickaninny is a child that is not, they're too young to do any labor. Pickaninny comes from they're not picking any cotton. Isn't that horrible? That's so bad. That's an awful thing to call somebody. But from no longer a pickaninny until they start to labor, and then they labor until they die, how much profit and revenue could a single slave generate? So that's a number that exists. I'm not looking it up. Maybe y'all can look it up. But then if you look at the average African American, so I'm going to go from birth until death, and we live a long time now, longer than we did back then in some cases. Our life expectancy is dramatically higher in 2023 than it was in, say, 1863. The amount of profit that we generate as free individuals that are consumers, and we are overwhelming consumers, starting from birth, because our birth costs money. There are medical bills that must be paid that go to a hospital, which are nonprofit corporations nonetheless. Then there's feeding us. There is clothing us. There is all of the care and maintenance of a child. There's investments that you make in that child. All the things that add up in taking care of a child. That's money that is spent. That is money that is given for goods and services for the care of that child. And then when the child becomes an adult, they get a job and they start working, they're going to buy things too. They're going to pay a mortgage. They're going to pay rent. That, again, is money that is going in somebody else's pocket and generating profit for somebody else. We're going to buy cars. We're going to buy other services. We're going to pay for utilities. We're going to pay for cell phone service. We're going to buy clothes and shoes and dinners. All of the money that we contribute to society, I bet we make more people wealthy now than when they were benefiting from our labor. That would make sense. Now, I don't have those numbers. It would be a very interesting thing to see. A couple of weeks ago, I was going to do this whole long program on the consumer categories that African Americans spend the majority of our money in. I may revisit it at some point in time. I'm talking about categories of things that we buy, goods and services, where we are the number one consumers, meaning that we outpace every other race in these particular consumer categories. In fact, our spending exceeds our proportion of the population, right? So the category, let's just say, I don't have it in front of me, let's say it's alcohol, like liquor. So we are 14% of the population, give or take, but we might be like 30% of the revenue for alcohol. Hair care products, we're 14% of the population, give or take, but we might be 40% of the people in this nation that buy hair and hair care products. So there's a number of categories in which we are the number one consumer, which even outpaces our percentage and our proportion of the population. And we make industries very, very wealthy. In fact, some industries may not be able to survive. We would have less millionaires and less billionaires if we changed our spending habits. There's no question about that. And then I looked at how that power, which we don't harness it very well. We don't harness our spending power like we should. It is a weapon. It is, because when you give money to someone else, and maybe it's for a good that we need, oftentimes it's for a good or a service that we don't need. It's the concept of luxury. People that don't have a lot of money, they want to feel like they are participating in the purchase of luxury goods so they can give the interpretation that they're very, very wealthy. And again, luxury was created for poor people. It was a term so that poor people had something to aspire to, just so they spend more of their money. So it's kind of, rich people don't talk about luxury items. Rich people buy stuff based on quality, based on what they need or what they like, whatever the case may be. They're not saying, "Ooh, I'm rich. I want to look really rich." Sometimes they just can't help it because of what their lifestyles are. But then you have people that are not rich, but they want to look and they want to emulate wealth. So I'm curious. How much more money do they make off of us? And so when we learn how to, and this is very tough because we're such a consumer-based economy, if we learn how to harness our spending, basically the economic boycott. Economic boycotts can work, but it takes more discipline than most people have. To not spend money on unnecessary items, especially when we buy things to feel good. You might think your life is not going well. They call it retail therapy. Shopping sometimes, buying yourself something nice, treating yourself, make you feel good temporarily. It's a drug. It's a spike of dopamine when you buy something. Ooh, I'm going to go buy that whatever. It's going to make me feel good. You're not dealing with the issue. You're not dealing with why you are compelled to buy something to make you feel good. You get the dopamine spike by buying stuff. And I think we do an awful lot of that. But it takes a tremendous amount of discipline to not make that unnecessary purchase and deal with the reason why you feel the way you do that's leading you to use the purchase as a Band-Aid to mask your problem. So if we could figure out a way to weaponize that, we could then use that to demand more. But again, it takes more discipline than people have. An example could be, y'all ever go to the Walmart? I don't really go to the Walmart. I'm not a Walmart fan. If you guys see me in a Walmart, please ask me if I'm okay. Please ask me if I've been kidnapped. I'd rather not be in a Walmart. Sometimes you have to go, but I don't like the Walmarts. I feel icky going to the Walmart because I shouldn't be there because they don't treat the workers very good. They don't let workers form unions, a whole bunch of other things. Wages are too low. I don't like the Walmarts, but sometimes I go to the Walmart, but I feel very guilty in going to the Walmart. Rhea, do you go to the Walmarts? Good. I bet we make Walmart rich if we could curtail or harness our spending and say, hey, company, if you don't support this congressional bill, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, as an example, okay, black consumers are no longer going to purchase your products. You're going to have to lay off your workers. You're going to have to close your factories. Your CEOs are not going to get multi-million-dollar bonuses because, like, that is what our consumerism does for an awful lot of companies that don't have any respect for our culture and don't have any respect for what we go through. If anything, they'll emulate and mimic our culture, then sell it back to us. Let's put it this way. You can get fried chicken and barbecue from a lot of places that are not black owned. And most of y'all go to Elsa's to get chicken wings. Imagine that. If we could harness that consumer power, we could break the back of some of these companies and corporations that won't even hire us, but they'll sell to us. Or we could do a better job of getting them on our side because their lobbying organizations are way more powerful than ours. I don't even know who the agencies and who the organizations are that lobby on behalf of black people, other than the NAACP and the Urban League, in which most of you are not members. But if we could harness that consumer power, you know how they broke the back of apartheid in South Africa? Late 80s, early 1990s? Companies stopped doing business with South Africa. They weren't buying anything made in South Africa. And then a company like Coca-Cola said, we're not going to have Coca-Cola for sale in South Africa. Meaning, you're not going to be able to sell our Coca-Cola. And if Coca-Cola probably helps companies make money. Whatever McDonald's pays for Coca-Cola. When you buy Coca-Cola from McDonald's, you pay more than McDonald's did, meaning McDonald's can make a profit off the Coca-Cola. But what if the Coca-Cola was gone? Coca-Cola said, we're not going to distribute to you anymore until you fix yourself. McDonald's would say, dang, we probably should do something different. We should get involved in this racial justice movement. We should make sure that we are doing everything that we can over here in the South African McDonald's to break apartheid because we want Coca-Cola to come back. And then when Coca-Cola says, we are leaving South Africa, a whole bunch of corporations said, we're not going to do business with South Africa. We're not going to trade with them. I think even Ronald Reagan came around and said the United States was going to do less. We're going to put sanctions on South Africa. And then the South Africans were like, oh, snap. This is hurting our economy. Hitting people in the pocketbooks actually has proven results when it comes to racial justice. An example here, the Montgomery bus boycott, which I know was rough. Most of the black people in Montgomery for a period of 366 days did not take the bus. The bus company did not have enough revenue because the majority of their riders were African Americans. And the bus company said, fine, we'll let blacks sit wherever they want to sit. I need you to think about like how small of a victory that was and how much sacrifice it took. If I told a black person that you have to walk for 366 days, I mean everywhere you go, to the store, to work, to church, to school, everywhere, if your only mode of transportation was the bus. And I said, yeah, we're going to boycott the bus company for this small victory of being able to sit wherever we want. Like, that's insane to me. Most of y'all be like, okay, well, no, I'm just going to sit in the back then. I'm not going to not take the bus. I'll just accept those meager accommodations. If a white person gets on the bus and there were no other seats, a black person would have to stand. Now, it's pride reducing. It's shameful. It's sad, and we wouldn't stand for anything like that today. But think about how small that victory was. Just to be able to sit anywhere on the bus. We stayed off of the bus. We walked. We carpooled for 366 days. And the victory was, well, they desegregated public transportation. But that should have been a given. So we were fighting and sacrificing. And we wouldn't sacrifice like that now. If I told y'all to save your life and to be healthy and to get all of your like health ailments in control, exercise every day for a year. Most of y'all wouldn't even do that. For 1 year, dedicate yourself to a minimal exercise routine. We wouldn't do that. That is why it is so incredibly difficult to harness our economic power. Like, that is the thing that we have that we could use, because then we could start giving orders. Hey, corporation, hey, company, you have a whole bunch of lobbyists in Washington, D.C. I know that they're lobbying, for your company on behalf of you, but black people are going to stop buying your products, so you won't have money to pay these lobbyists until you get on board with this agenda we're going to set forward. I believe that we would be dramatically more successful, meaning the results would come faster if we could harness our economic power instead of just thinking that voting for people is going to fix our problems. We need the people with real power to get into the fight. Corporate America runs the world. It's a whole different set of rules that exist in corporate America. It's dangerous, it's cutthroat, but they get it done. If a corporation wants something, they get it, or they'll steal it, or they'll manufacture it, or they'll outsource it, they'll import it, they'll export it. They know how to get stuff done. And if we can harness some of the power that they have, like, they get to usurp federal regulations all the time. If there's a law on the books, corporation put together a lobbying court, they'll change the law, and the president will sign it. If we can harness a little bit of that, I think that the strategies that we have discussed for many, many years and the outcomes that we all deserve and seek could come to fruition much faster if we could harness our economic power. But it's very hard to do that. Very tough. All right, let's take I think it was 366 days. Let me double check. How long was the Montgomery bus boycott? If I got it right, 381 days. I was close. By day 366, they was like, we might as well. It's been a year and a day. We might as well go the rest of the days. So, something to think about, guys. We probably make more profit for companies that don't respect us or our culture than we did when they could purchase us and benefit and profit from our labor. Right? Just let that sink in. I'm going to take a break, come back and read some text messages at 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The 1017 The Truth Street Team, sponsored by UW Credit Union, is coming to an event near you. It is homecoming week for the Milwaukee Panthers, and to celebrate, our 1017 The Truth Street Team will be handing out swag at the Panthers home game this Friday night from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Come enjoy a great men's basketball game between the Milwaukee Panthers and Luther College while hanging out with the Truth Street Team. Get your tickets now by visiting Ticketmaster.com. The 1017 The Truth Street Team is sponsored by UW Credit Union. They are here for every you.
Hey, it's Jason Wildig for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. All so you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The WIAA football playoffs all comes down to this: State Championship Football Week. Tune in this Friday as the Marquette Hilltoppers take on the Franklin Sabres at Camp Randall Stadium in the Division I State Championship game. Winner takes home the gold ball. The football action kicks off at 4 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Marquette Hilltoppers football is presented by Gruber Law Offices and sponsored by Capital Insurance Agency, Magic Productions, Annex Wealth Management, C.G. Schmidt, Left's Lucky Town, Liberty Engineering, and Marquette University High School.
This is 1017 The Truth's Tori Lowe, and I am Milwaukee. The Tori Lowe Show has become a resource for the community. I enjoy having open, on-air discussions about what we can do to regroup, rethink the black man, the black woman, and the black child. This show is about that action, and I want all the smoke. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the new 1017 The Truth, Milwaukee Black Talk.
Here at the new 1017 The Truth, we aim to be a staple in Milwaukee's black community. We are committed to partnering with local organizations and supporting black-owned businesses. We are proud to call Milwaukee our city and promise to be a positive reflection of our community. We look forward to celebrating black culture and excellence with you every day as we make history and continue to uplift the voices in our city. Join us for the journey at the new 1017 The Truth, founded by Gruber Law Offices, Milwaukee Black Talk.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's a whole nother conversation going on in the YouTube chat. So since John, 87-year-old John, that still walks a mile and a quarter to work, that still has a job at 87, he's in the YouTube chat. He says, to keep from falling, that is why I walk to work, climb 3 flights of stairs, and carry a big stick. Zuri says, John, you're better than me, and it makes me want to do better. I tried after 1 flight of stairs. They're like my enemy. 414 King Ant says, I know. And then 414 Ant says, keep the sheeple sleep. Dwayne Holland says, good morning in the YouTube. John says, what if Republicans had allowed Obama to implement rebuilding roads and bridges as soon as he was president? Where could that program be today? So, John, to counter that, Obama was focused on the one most predominant issue at the time that was impacting most Americans, if not all Americans in some form or fashion, but really black Americans, and that was affordable health care. Obama spent the overwhelming majority of his political capital on the Affordable Care Act, which ultimately I think it was a good bet, but he didn't have much political capital left to do anything else. So political capital is like political money you have in the bank. If you have a lot of political capital on one issue, that means that you have enough support and can apply pressure with your support to get this one thing done. But if you spend your political capital, it's gone until you rebuild it. And you rebuild it with members of Congress supporting your agenda or with the American public. That's why Barack Obama used to hop on Air Force One. And if he had an idea, if he had a policy idea and Congress was like, ooh, you suck, we don't like that idea, we're never going to vote for it, boo, Obama will hop on Air Force One and go to cities and he would give speeches because he had so much charisma that even if Congress was not supportive of anything that Barack Obama wanted to do, just name any one thing, he would go directly to the people. And he, look, you know, we need the affordable health care. We got to have it. We need, tell your member of Congress that you want the affordable health care. And then people are like, yeah, I'm going to call my member of Congress. And those members of Congress who were not going to support whatever this idea was that Obama had are now compelled to do so because when the president engages the people then can have an impact on their representatives and compel them to vote for whatever the president wants. If you have a charismatic president, that actually works. Bill Clinton did it too. Bill Clinton was very I want a better word than charismatic. he was a good dude. I don't know what else to call him. He was just I don't know. He had an aura, I guess. I met him. Made me feel like I've known him my whole life. And he had very soft hands. He did. He had very soft hands. I shook his hand. He was at an event. This was I met him in 2006. There was a campaign rally for Congresswoman Gwen Moore, who, get this, was running for her second term. Oh, she's been there probably 10 terms now, at least. More than 10. Something like that. So it was a rally for the reelection of Governor Jim Doyle, Congresswoman Gwen Moore, and Herb Cole and Bill Clinton came to a campaign event for them. And I was on stage on the risers. You know, presidents, when they give speeches, there's people behind them. They have people on the risers. And so where they placed me on the risers, it was me and my guy, Chris Martin. Shout out to Chris Martin. They put us on the risers on like the third row up, right? So we're right behind President Clinton while he's giving a speech. So before everything started, he shook everybody's hand. I said, "Hey, Mr. President, it's very nice to meet you. I'm Sherwin Hughes." "Hey, Sherwin. Hey, it's so nice to meet you too. So glad that you're here, Sherwin. Hey, do you know where the strip club is? Maybe me and you can go after this event." He didn't say that, but he wanted to. He wanted to go to Silk with me, probably, maybe. I'm not sure. He was a very nice guy. So where they placed myself and Chris Martin on the risers was kind of peculiar. It was weird how they placed us and where we were spaced. So at the time, I had a flip phone. Y'all remember flip phones? And my flip phone was in my pocket, and it kept going off, and it kept going off, kept going off, kept going on. Apparently, where they placed myself and my friend Chris Martin, when you were looking at the president speaking at this rally, because they did cover a bit of it live, I was over President Clinton's left shoulder, and my friend Chris was over the president's right shoulder. So as you're watching the rally, you see my face right over the president's shoulder, and somebody took a picture and sent it to me of the president speaking, and then I'm over his one shoulder and Chris is over the other shoulder. I should post it on the Facebooks if I can find it. Now, John Wallace is telling Zuri in the YouTube chat, tomorrow try one flight of stairs until you can do two. All this stuff I'm talking about on this show. And they're over here talking about how to climb stairs. What else are they saying? Okay, John, how many stairs make a flight? I'm done. I'm not reading any more of these. I'm over here spitting game to y'all. I am curious how many stairs make up a flight. Zuri says, I'm thinking 8. Barbara Smith said, why are my comments not showing up? My comments must have gotten caught up in the censor filter. I wonder why. Well, Barbara, what kind of hate are you spewing? Oh, I know why your comments got censored. Because you made that comment about, I'm not going to say it, about the Central Intelligence Agency doing their job. Okay, that's enough of that. Grant said on the 833-212-1017, you stated it costs $30,000 to adopt a white child. Can you list other factors that may go into the equation when a black couple wants to buy a white child? I think it's supply and demand because white children are in higher demand to adopt. They didn't give any details. This adoption agency, this consulting agency that pairs prospective parents with children who are on their way or in foster care, they don't publish that information anymore because it was a mistake to publish it in the first place because then it falls into hands like mine. And I relate it to selling kids on a slavery auction block. Nay says, folks didn't even listen to McGee's Rebel of the gas station. Do you mean boycott, Nay? We don't boycott things very well. There was a beauty supply store called Beauty Island. I don't know if it's still in existence. I don't think it is. But apparently the owners of that store said something racially insensitive to a black lady, and Commander McGee orchestrated a boycott against that beauty supply store. This was like 30 years ago. And black people they kept going. So we're very difficult to compel to not spend money. Brittany says, see, I'm not the only one who gets off topic, hence the time I asked how tall you were. But that's not relevant, Brittany. My height. I'm taller than you are, put it that way. Jean says she sent a link. Before that, Gene said that slag Lauren Bobert is either a grandmother or about to become one. She's only in her 30s. So was Sarah Palin. Wasn't Sarah Palin a grandmother at 30-something? Wasn't Sarah Palin pregnant? Didn't Sarah Palin have a daughter that was a teenage mama? www.measuringworth/slavery. Very interesting paper about how much slaves would be worth and how much revenue they would generate in 2020. I'm clicking on that. Let me see. How much? Oh, this is long, Gene. I can't read all this. I'm going to hang on to the link, though. I'm very curious as to how much money we generated, how much revenue, how much profit we generated for a plantation owner versus how much profit we add to companies and corporations when we're purchasing things. I bet we're of more value now, but we cost more to buy at auction adjusted for inflation in 1861 than it is to adopt a black child in 2023. JD the Poets. Oh, thank you for the inflation calculator. So 1857, you have the $1,600 cost of a slave in Virginia would cost $51,595 in 2022, which would make sense that it's $59,000 in 2023 because inflation is still somewhat out of control. Marvin says, good morning, Sherwin. I agree with Bob. There will not be a civil war. The Capitol Riot Commission and the latter convictions brought those rioters back to reality, despite those guys running around the Capitol in their G.I. Joe uniforms acting bad. They're afraid of prison. A lot of them did not go to prison, Marvin. A lot of them did not. A lot of them were not arrested, even though each and every one of them violated a federal law. Most people that attended the U.S. Capitol riot weren't charged and did not go to prison. Now, some did, and when they do go to prison, it makes national news. But the proportion of people that went to prison was so low that it's worth it for them to do it again. Because if they had more people, that was 2,000 people, and that overwhelmed whatever the police force was at the time. Now the military was going to go in, but I believe that Trump, you guys can look it up, Trump told the military to stand down. They wanted no military protection for the U.S. Capitol, and the president at the time was still Donald Trump, and he had the ability to do that. But you could easily overwhelm the system. I wonder how that would work. So a civil war would not be what you think it is. We think it's like us shooting at white people. That would be the worst case scenario because we wouldn't make it 10 days. They would cut off our supply chain. If you cut off the insulin and high blood pressure medication to the black community, our fighters would be dead. They cut off our electricity. We'd have no internet. We'd have no communication. Because we don't control any of that, right? If we are in a conflict as black people, like, oh, we're going to fight the whites. Terrible idea. We don't have the ability to keep our power on. Look at what they are doing to the Gazans. I saw this clip yesterday. I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about what's going on over there because it is worse than you think. There was like a military strategist for the IDF, the Israeli defense, and he was like, we're going to make it unlivable. We're going to take their hospital. He said all this stuff. We're going to take their hospitals. We're going to take their food. We're going to take their power. We're going to take their electricity. We're going to take their ability to communicate. That's the first thing that would happen in the Civil War. The kind of civil war that would actually take place, again, not likely, is what we saw as 2,000 people on January 6, 2021 would be 25 or 30,000 people. Joe Biden would still be president up until January 20th, 2025, and Joe Biden would send in the military to protect members of Congress. That it would be the U.S. military versus those insurrectionists, and they would get wiped out because they're no match for, like, they could launch a drone that's unmanned. They could kill 5,000 people. So that's what we'd have to worry about with a civil war. Back in the day, there was no orchestrated military like we have right now. You had Union and Confederate armies. That is not the same as the military we have right now that's worth trillions of dollars. So, no civil war. Rhea says, I got to take a break, and I agree. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Black Chamber Radio. December 8th, 2023, the Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce will once again bring to life the Black and Diverse Business Showcase. You should be there. Featuring black and diverse businesses from around the state. You should be there. TWBCC.com to register now. You should be there. Vendors, you should be there. Entrepreneurs, you should be there. Elected officials, you should be there. TWBCC.com to register now.
You should be there.
You will never see black and diverse businesses the same way again. You should be there. Register at TWBCC.com today so you can be there. December 8th, 2023.
You should be there.
You should be there.
Your love isn't confined to an advent calendar. It doesn't stop when the Christmas lights come down. With the Salvation Army, your love lasts all year long. It puts a present under someone's tree today and a roof over someone's head tomorrow. It brightens Christmas morning and the hardest nights for hardworking families. Together, we can love beyond Christmas. Donate today to support local families all year long at samilwaukee.org.
Hey, Southeastern Wisconsin, it's Bobby Portis here. Let you know that no matter what position you play on the court or what job you hold off the court, you can join me and over 225,000 members who have added Educators Credit Union to their starting lineup. Learn more at ecu.com. Membership eligibility required. Federally insured by NCUA.
Truth Nation, it is Denise Thomas.
And Telly Hughes.
From Truth Be Told with DT and Telly. And guess what?
What is that, DT?
Our Truth fans can now watch and stream us live every day, Telly.
Wait a minute, Denise. Let me make sure I got this thing right. Our amazing and incredible Truth fans can go to 1017thetruth.com, click the Watch Live link, and watch me and you do our thing live from YouTube and Twitter every morning?
Yes, Telly, that is exactly right. So now they can watch you almost lose your black card every Friday during our Truth Telling Hit segment.
Come on now. You know I'm never losing my black card. But Truth Nation, you gotta tune into all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows, as you can not only listen live on the app, but you can also stream us live all day, every day by going to 1017thetruth.com and clicking the Watch Live link.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Truth, Sherwin Hughes for Axe Housing. Guess what? You're paying too much for rent. Even though I don't know how much you're paying for rent, I guarantee you're paying too much. If you work with Axe Housing, you're going to average about $800 a month for a mortgage. No matter what barriers you think you're facing, Axe Housing will have a coach on staff that can assist you today. They can even get you more money for down payment assistance. They work with people with no credit and even low credit, as they have an in-house brokerage. So you should be dreaming of home ownership if you aren't by now. Get started on a virtual orientation by going to axhousing.org. That's ACTS housing.org. Don't let where you are financially today get in the way of your bright future. Axe coaches are here to help you. That's axhousing.org. And tune in to 1017 The Truth's Business Spotlight today at 3:57 p.m. between the Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. Melanie Ricks will be joined by Ashley Lucas, Vice President and Business Lending Product Manager at Associated Bank. And they will discuss why every business should have a line of credit and how Associated Bank can make that process easy. Again, that is a Business Spotlight with Associated Bank today at 3:57 p.m. on the new 1017 The Truth. And the truth, I should probably say it right, is the home of Marquette University High School football. The Hilltoppers are one win away from being D1 state champions. Tune in this Friday as the Hilltoppers take on the Franklin Sabres in the WIAA D1 state championship game. Kickoff is set for 4 p.m. this Friday, live from Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. High school sports and the award-winning 1017 The Truth, presented by Gruber Law Offices. You know how it goes. One call, that's all. And we have a Panthers basketball scheduling alert. Due to the Marquette High School football game, The Panthers basketball game will be aired on 94.5 WESPN Friday night. The Panthers will return back home to host the Luther College Norse at the Panthers Arena downtown. Coverage begins at 6:30 with tip-off set for 7, and that's going to be on our sister station, 94.5 not WESPN, just ESPN, no W. All right, now make sure you guys keep listening because we're going to give you another chance to be entered to win the Gruber $5,000 giveaway. Whatever happened to the lady that won? Ain't she supposed to come in here for photos and stuff? She's supposed to come in here and get her check. I can't talk about that. Well, I probably can't say that I can't talk about it. I mean, she didn't, ain't no foul stuff going on there. All right. Okay. Well, no, it's going to happen, though. It's upcoming. Okay. All right. Kiana says, oh, good God. You're being ridiculous, Kiana. Sherwin, only people that are insecure about their height don't answer questions about their height. Then she says, I'm 5'3". See how that's done? I'm 4'7". I'm a little person. You can't say the other word for us anymore. It's not politically correct. I'm a little person. So, I mean, it's kind of embarrassing.
You're not a little person, though.
Shh, they don't know that. Does everybody want to know how tall I am? I'm 4'7". What difference does it make? My voice is big. My microphone is hot, no matter how tall I am. I'm the size of an average third grader in height. I have to sit on the telephone book when I drive my vehicle. Gene said it's a very long but interesting read. I found this a few months ago during one of your shows and meant to send it to you. It's a paper about how much slaves would be worth and how much revenue they would generate in 2020. But I think even by working for low wages, we're probably generating as much or comparable, if not more, revenue for companies and businesses and corporations than we were when our labor was forced to be provided. Meaning that I don't think that African Americans' economic participation has changed all that much, because now we are consumers and spend money on products and services that help make companies very wealthy because we spend so much of our income on stuff. If you look at that dollar amount over the course of our lifetime, how much money do we spend? It's probably millions of dollars. Even if you live in poverty, I'll bet you spend $1 million in your lifetime. Think about rent, mortgages, food, chicken wings. Y'all about to have the Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving costs a lot of money. Carrie, what you doing for Thanksgiving?
Having a good old time.
Okay. You don't cook, do you?
Do you cook?
Yes.
What you be cooking?
Yeah. Food.
Nasty food?
Nope. I've cooked delicious meals.
Burnt mac and cheese?
That's foul. That's awful.
What do you eat as a vegan on Thanksgiving?
I eat turkey. I just don't eat turkey every day. I eat, sometimes you got to eat turkey. Like if I go to a nice restaurant and if they're known for steak, you got to get a steak. I went to Bartolotta's in Mequon to celebrate my pop's birthday. I got a steak sandwich. It was delicious. It's very good. Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I hope everybody having a good day. First thing I wanted to share with you is we're definitely worth a whole lot of money. Now, at one time, every time we come up missing, we already missing. We always missing organs. So we worth a lot of money on the black market. Also, let's not forget about all these kids that's come up missing in CPS. Because, recently, I think that was about a year and a half ago, CPS was getting sued because, they had a relationship with Frater Hospital who was taking away black babies from black families. The other thing I was going to share with you, too, was that, every time a woman has an abortion and they're trying to pass this law in 2 other states that they keep the baby alive for 2 weeks so they can sell the organs. So we're very valuable. They just want us to think we're not very valuable. Because, see, if we wasn't as valuable as they say we're not, they wouldn't go out their way to keep us in a very state of mind or do certain things to us because they know our melanin alone is worth millions of dollars, our eyes, our brains, and our organs, So, I just wanted to share that. And then look about how when they take these black babies away and they put them up in Wisconsin, or you have a lot of white Republicans with black babies. They're getting checks for them black babies now. Some of them do it out of love, but majority of time they're getting big checks for those black babies. So every way around the board, there's a reason and a purpose for us because they know we as black people been very expensive, and their wealth is made off of black people and including profiting off the poor. So I wanted to share that with you. And then also when you brought up the crime issue, there's a root and cause to the crime because no baby come in this world being a bad child. But if you go out your way to break a person mental and deprive them of their basic needs, you will push them to crime, just like with the reckless driving. When I'm in Bristol, Cone Pines, Nacogwicca Lake, Heartland, Delafield, you speed too fast, they coming out of everywhere like STDs and ghosts. But they don't allow certain things to happen out there. Now, they might have problems with their kids snorting aspirin and Tylenol, but when you look at that reckless driving, even if you think about trying it, you got them boys on your back. But in the inner city, the reason they let that stuff get out of control is because you're black. Because when you look at other neighborhoods around Milwaukee, what do? They chase them black people right back on to that jurisdiction. Then they turn their car right around. Then you get the black people who's supposed to be the cops who say there's nothing they can do. But when they sitting up there up in that cemetery where the white man sold all the raw iron fists back in the 80s, 3 packs for $90, they sitting there seeing stuff go on. So there's a cause and effect to everything. So the reckless driving just didn't get out of hand. It been out of hand because they didn't care. And my question to you, if you didn't live in the neighborhood that you work, would you care? Because majority of these cops don't live in Milwaukee anyway. So why would they care if they live in Moanaco? They say let them black people kill themselves. So I just wanted to share that with you. But if you make them invest in the neighborhood, then you will, care about where you live. But if I live in Trevor or Plymouth, Moanaco or Hales Corners, why would I care about what goes on in the city? I don't live there. That's a black people problem. And some of these officers know that too. That's why they sit in the car looking like Kate Moss and Janet Dickinson when things go on, because they don't care. They don't live here. Have a great day.
All right, Al. That was a lot. All right, let's give people a chance to win some money, I reckon.
One call, that's all.
Now is your chance to be entered to win our one call, that's all $5,000 giveaway. We'll take call number 5 right now at 833-212-1017. 833-212-1017. You'll be entered to win $5,000. Remember, if you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Call number 5 for your chance to win $5,000 from the One Call That's All 5K giveaway. For official contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com. Call number 5 right now. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's your boy Tory Lowe, and I need to let you know the award-winning Tory Lowe Show can now be streamed live on YouTube. How? Every day from 1 to 4. I am now bringing all the smoke on YouTube every single weekday. I need you to go to YouTube right now and subscribe to 1017 The Truth and check out the award-winning Tory Lowe Show live every afternoon. Milwaukee Black Talk is now streaming live on YouTube. Now that's powerful.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the new 1017 The Truth. Here is Dr. Ken Harris with his truth.
I'm tired. I'm tired of watching this city fall apart and have leaders who will not say why. What is the issue with saying what the issue is? I have 5 things that need to be addressed in the black community to mitigate, to stop crime, period. Hands down, full stop. Number 1, when your kid does something wrong, they need to be held accountable. If it's a smack on the wrist for something they did that was little, that's fine. Otherwise, they need to be held accountable. Number 2, parents, you need to take care of and raise your kids. It is not the job of the police, the fire department, the school, or anybody else to raise the kid that you decided to have. It's on you. For those kids that have now come into adulthood, go to college for at least an associate's degree in a trade. That way you can either start your own business or get a good job. Number 2, when you graduate from high school with at least a 2.5 grade point average or higher. And then finally, probably the number 1 thing that everybody needs to think about, and whether you agree with it or not is irrelevant, it's my truth take. If you disagree, God bless you. But the bottom line is, wait to get married before you have children. Why? Because the responsibility of raising them is on you.
This has been Truth Takes on the new 1017 The Truth. Listen to The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into The Truth this Saturday at 11 a.m. for another episode of More Than a Movement powered by Planned Parenthood Advocates. Carrie, who's in here right now. Hello, Carrie. You're going to highlight some of the most powerful conversations that you've had with health justice advocates who fight for equality and rights for all. Again, that's More Than a Movement powered by Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin, Saturday at 11 a.m. on 1017 The Truth. And it's College Month on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and we want to help your young scholar get free scholarship dollars. We're going to be highlighting local universities who offer full tuition scholarships and local organizations who help students find thousands of scholarship dollars every year. Be sure to tune into The Truth all month long so you do not miss this important information. College Month on The Truth is sponsored by Educators Credit Union, American Family Insurance, Gruber Law Offices, and Associated Bank. Carrie, you must be filling in for Melanie. No. So why are you here? Now, why are you messing with me? Carrie, did you know that if you were a slave, you probably wouldn't fetch much money? You backtalk too much. They'd have to put the whip on you. Now, look here, gal, we done told you. I ain't picking no cotton. You'd be very rebellious. What? Why?
You know, if I were a slave, I probably would comply, like, a lot.
Would you?
No, I think so because I wouldn't want to cause no problems, like to get in trouble.
I think you would probably snitch on other slaves. Massa, Sherwin and Rhea them planning on leaving at midnight by the light of the moon.
No, I wouldn't snitch. I wouldn't snitch. But I should be like, don't involve me in that now. Don't bring me into it.
Miss Carrie, you best to come with us now, because we'd be scared you was gonna snitch if you didn't come with us.
I get it, but I don't know. Am I in the house or am I outside?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think you'd probably be in the house. You'd be serving meals. Yeah, you'd be in the kitchen. You'd have it good.
But then they'd be like raping me and stuff too.
Oh,
though.
that's not pleasant.
No, it's not. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
Are we offending people by having this conversation?
Probably, but Black people, we definitely laugh at our pain a lot of the time. You got to laugh to keep from crying. I just said that to you earlier.
If you think about like how we are now and our pride as a people, our pride is the biggest thing that we have. If we took the attitude that we all have right now and applied that to slavery, oh man, it's very funny. Imagine taking Sexy Red and putting her on a plantation.
Man,
I would like to actually watch that. That would just be hilarious. Because we're already very rebellious people because we're aware of what our history was and the mentalities that we've had right now and the toughness we've built up. I don't think we would take direction very well from the master.
No, of course not. We got people today who say stuff like, I'm not my grandma. We not our ancestors. That is so disrespectful to say.
No, it is because they were in survival mode in a different way than we are in survival mode. And even though we'll say, oh, I'm not my grandmama, I'm not my ancestor, you can't talk to me that way. Yeah, pretty much. We still get talked to a certain way. We still follow orders on the job from racist boss and managers. So we're just in a different situation, but we're still to some extent subservient.
100%.
But because we can post stuff on the internet and Twitter, we think that we actually have freedom. I don't think so. So why are you here again, other than talk about slavery?
Because I work here.
Shouldn't you be doing social media stuff?
Yeah. Do you want me to get a video of you right now?
Yeah.
Make sure y'all follow our Instagram page at 101.7 The Truth so you can see all of the craziness of our show hosts and myself.
How come I don't have little videos on Instagram? Everybody else got a video on Instagram but me.
What are you talking about?
You know, y'all post stuff.
Give me an example, please.
I don't know. If I have like a segment, somebody will take a segment and it'll be a worthy segment and they'll put it on Instagram. I don't have any Instagram segments.
You do. Your face is on our Instagram more than mine.
Well, supposed to be. I'm a host.
I'm the digital content journalist.
Yeah, but why would the digital content? Oh, I guess you go and you interview people. You met Jada Kiss Jeezy. Who'd you meet?
I met Jada Kiss.
What was that like?
It was really fun, actually.
Was he nice?
He was really nice. He came out for Shake's, I don't know, you know Shake?
I do.
For Shake's private shoe launch party. He had a bunch of people perform. He had a girl named Brooklyn Queen, who's a new artist. She's 18 years old. The Outlaws came through. Onyx came through, and Jada Kiss. They all performed. You know the other ones, Outlaws and Onyx?
Outlaws, isn't that Tupac's backup band?
Yeah, they're with Tupac.
Oh.
And Onyx. You know Onyx with Sticky Fingers and I think it's Fredo Star.
So there was an Onyx back in the 90s.
Yeah.
That same Onyx?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be damned. Where were they at?
We were at No Studios
Okay.
for the private party.
All right.
And you know Q from Moesha. Did you watch Moesha?
Of course I did.
Yeah. So I got to meet him. I got a video with him too.
How come nobody told me about that event?
It was private.
Oh,
You
weren't
weren't
gonna
go. Yeah.
First of all, you're right, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't have been invited.
I mean, I don't know. You got to get in with the right people. You got to be tapped in.
Thanks, Carrie. And thanks, everybody, for listening. My show is over. Goodbye.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the $5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 1017thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Thank you to Associated Bank for being a founding partner of the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Together, we are committed to uplifting local organizations